Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 507. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. Hey, me. Welcome back. Oh, thanks. It's good to be back.
Hey, me.
Do you want to do this episode by yourself, Kyle?
Yeah, is someone talking?
You could just do all the parts.
I'll do all the parts.
Yeah.
What's
Welcome
up,
back, Kyle?
What's up, party people?
I love how he didn't even give us a chance to welcome him
I
back.
know, right?
Well, because
He just
I'm always the one that welcomes you guys, so
Well,
I need to
Zach and I
welcome
had this
myself.
whole big thing planned. We
yeah.
had party poppers and balloons ready to go right off screen, but nope,
Right on.
not going to do it now.
Well,
James, give him a taste of the sound effect you were going to play for him.
Okay. I was going to play that.
I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear
He'll
anything?
I heard
We
nothing.
didn't know, but he'll add it in post.
You guys seriously didn't hear anything? Because if you didn't, that's a problem.
I did not
Heard
hear
nothing, my
anything.
friend. Not a thing. How big of a problem is it really, James?
Did you hear that?
No.
No.
How is that possible?
Sorry, buddy.
Are we free the tyranny of the sound effects, Zach?
I think we
Never.
we are. We are no longer a shock jock radio
It
station
doesn't make any
from
sense.
1997.
What about now?
Oh, dude, definitely don't hear that one.
No, that was faint.
So
This is definitely a
Anyone
great
have a-
time to figure this problem out.
anyone have a check-in?
I have
Just curious.
I have a check-in.
Okay.
Hit me.
All right. This is a movie collection check-in, and this is a milestone for me. I now own every Stanley Kubrick feature film on Blu-ray or 4K.
Really?
Really.
All right. Amazing.
I'm just it's
How many
an
are there?
accomplishment.
I don't even know. 13? Is that how many?
13. Yeah, 13.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Can you list them off in order and on what format?
Yes, I can.
Without looking?
Without looking. I mean, it's over there, but I can't see them. So here we go. I have Fear and Desire on Blu-ray. I have Killer's Kiss on Blu-ray, which actually comes with The Killing Criterion, because that's the next one in the order. So far I got Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss, and The Killing, all on Blu-ray. I have, this is the one, Paths of Glory on Criterion Blu-ray. Spartacus on 4K. That was the last one I got that completed the collection. Lolita on Blu-ray. Ooh, here we go. Okay, after Lolita is Doctor Strangelove on Blu-ray. 2001: A Space Odyssey, Blu-ray and 4K. Clockwork Orange, Blu-ray. Barry Lyndon, Blu-ray. I'm starting to lose it here. The Shining, Blu-ray and 4K. One being the European edition of Blu-ray, and then the 4K being the US version.
Do the 4Ks not come with the Blu-rays inside?
They
Most of
do,
them do.
but
Not all of them.
I own separate Blu-rays of these movies.
Okay.
As well as now the 4K, which comes with the Blu-ray.
Just for funsies.
Yes. Well, because I have the Stanley Kubrick collection on Blu-ray, which is 8 of the 13. So that kind of got me pretty close. Anyway, so we got The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Blu-ray and 4K, Eyes Wide Shut, Blu-ray.
Nice.
Did I miss one?
Correct.
No, you got it right.
Awesome.
You know, in the very, very early days of the Cinereelists podcast, James and I used to claim director trophies by reciting their entire filmography from memory with year of date released. And if you were the first one to be able to do it, you would get the trophy.
Oh.
And no one has claimed the Kubrick trophy yet. So, Kyle, if you want to make a go for it one of these weeks, you just have to say the year it was released and the exact title without mistakes.
Okay.
And you can claim the Kubrick trophy
I don't think I'm ready to claim it yet because I'm a little fuzzy on some of those earlier years.
Yeah.
But I could I could get back to I could get Paths of Glory. It's the first three I'm unsure about, but I could do Paths of Glory to Eyes Wide Shut with year
Nice.
and with title.
What's funny is on our website we still have the trophies up, even though we haven't done this in years and years and years. If you go to cinerealist.com/leaderboard, it'll show that I have the Gus Van Sant, Bryan Singer, Alfred Hitchcock, Harrison Ford, and Coen Brothers filmography trophies.
Mm-hmm.
And James has the Tim Burton, Tom Hanks, and the David Twohy trophy.
The Twohy trophy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's been a while since we got to talk about the Twohy trophy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why did that bit die, Zach? Remind me.
Oh, I think, I don't know. It got difficult.
I think neither of us enjoyed the homework.
It was hard. I mean, it's hard, especially like Hitchcock had what, like 44 movies or something.
Yeah, that bit died on John Williams, I think. Right? Or does somebody have the
maybe.
John Williams?
No one has the John Williams.
I think John Williams had like 100 movies or something like that. Something crazy. And
jeez.
Zach and I went back and forth maybe 2 rounds each, and neither of us could get it. And then it just died because it was too hard to memorize 100 in a row.
And at any point, if anyone wants to submit a challenge or submit a director, you can. I mean, we've never ended the game, so
it's still running.
And you can steal someone's trophy if you just do it faster.
Was that what it was? Did we record how long it took? No.
Well, no, but we
that.
recorded us doing it.
Sure. Okay. So if somebody comes on and they do it, then we will compare their time to the original time, and then from there.
They have to already just know the time that they need to beat. They have to do the homework, do the listen, know exactly what time they have to beat.
Sure. Yeah, right around 250, I was thinking, I should really just surprise Zach with like memorizing the John Williams one or whichever one we couldn't get past, and then just like spring it on you on episode 250. And then that didn't happen.
Totally.
And then like around episode 450, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it for 500. And then 500 came and went. I still haven't done it. So I think maybe on the last episode of this podcast, I will do.
Like 2 years ago or something like that, I took a trip by myself and I memorized Kubrick's filmography with dates with the intention of coming back and surprising you and doing getting the Kubrick trophy. And then I just forgot about it, and now I don't remember it.
Right. Yeah, there's not a chance I could do it for any of the people I have trophies for anymore.
But
yeah, definitely not a chance.
Yeah.
No doubt.
With Kubrick having only 13, it's not that challenging to memorize.
Oh, for sure. So we got to the point where we were going for the challenge. Like that was, it's the prestige of getting someone that has a lot.
Yeah.
That's why you go for the, the Hitchcock or the Harrison Ford, rather than someone who, has like 5 movies.
Mm-hmm. Now that we've talked about it, maybe somebody will do one. Maybe Kyle will break the.
I mean, I think I can make a run for the Kubrick next week.
Kyle needs a trophy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Here's my question for the group. Can only Cinerealist hosts snag a trophy?
I don't think so. But
no, I don't think so either.
I mean, we'd have to hear it live.
Sure. Yeah.
We have to verify they're not reading.
I don't think any Cinerealist listener would cheat, but here's what they'd have to do. They'd have to take the oath, and then they would have to record an audio of them reciting it.
Mm-hmm.
No. I think they have to do it live.
You have to come on the show.
That's the challenge, because you could just record yourself and then record yourself again and record yourself again until you do it all in one shot. The challenge is under pressure with it being recorded. You only get one shot at it.
Yeah.
And then
I agree with you.
If you don't do it, that's it. Like until the other person attempts.
Yeah.
Or somebody else attempts, you can't reattempt until after somebody else attempts.
Yeah. I agree.
Can we have music playing in the background that slowly gets faster and faster? It's like bum, bum, but this slowly the tempo keeps picking up the longer they go.
We had a couple games in the early days that weren't super conducive to a listening audience. That was one of them, because it's just listing like movies with dates. It's I'm not sure how interesting it is to listen to. I think it was interesting when there's like 10 to 20 movies, but once we got up in like the 50s, it's a lot. It's like a 20-minute segment of somebody,
Yeah.
just rattling off movie names.
And they're going like, Last Crusade, that was 1989 or something. Yeah.
Right.
We'd also play Last Man Standing, where you pick a category and then you go back and forth naming movies in that category. And people would win letters. And, and then they'd be the winner of that letter. So for instance, James has K. He can name more movies that start with a K than I can. And he's on the leaderboard.
We should bring back the leaderboard. I miss the leaderboard.
I love the leaderboard. We'll do it.
We got more casual about the games. In the beginning, we were a little more hardcore about who won and who lost.
In the beginning, you had games episodes, like
Yeah,
specific. You're a twice a weekly podcast.
Sure. And we also had somebody, Superfan Mindy, was like keeping track for us. That helped too. We had assistants.
Yeah.
As we went. So, yeah.
Well, Kyle, congrats on your accomplishment in movie collecting. Are you going to stop collecting Kubricks now, or are you going to replace your Blu-rays with 4Ks?
I'm going to replace my Blu-rays with 4Ks as I go. Though I am not going to get rid of my Kubrick box set. Even once I have them all on 4K, I still want to keep that box set because it looks cool.
Cool. Which ones don't you have on 4K? Like How I Made the Bomb or whatever.
The ones that are out there, which I don't have on 4K yet, are Doctor Strangelove.
Right.
And Clockwork Orange. I think those are the only two 4Ks available that I don't have yet.
I thought Clockwork Orange you bought.
Yeah, it's my wife is going to gift it to me for Christmas.
So you have it, but you don't have it.
I don't have it in my possession. It is in the house.
Oh my
but
goodness.
It's not technically mine yet.
Gotcha.
This is how my family, and when I say my family, I mean like my parents and I. This is how we did gifts. It was like, hey, what do you want? Okay, I'll buy that for you. So Megan's like, what do you want? I'm like, here, buy me this movie and then give it to me on Christmas.
Sure.
Yeah, the true magic of Christmas.
My family does that too. We just use a website. That way you just put what you want up there and then they buy it for you. And then like at the morning of Christmas, 9 times out of 10, you get something you forgot you even put on the list.
Yeah.
So it's a little more of a surprise. But
well, and the Clockwork Orange 4K was on sale anyway. So I'm like,
buy it now. Right.
Buy it now. It's on sale, and then just put it in my stocking, and I'll be happy either way.
Sure.
That's a stocking stuffer?
That's a good stocking stuffer.
It is.
It's a very nice stocking. No, it's too nice for a stocking.
No, it's a perfect stocking stuffer.
No, stocking stuffers are sub 5.
I mean, maybe in your household they are.
Yeah, very true.
In my household, the stocking's very important.
Plus, I really don't think that the elves are making Clockwork Orange 4Ks in the North Pole.
It is their favorite movie to watch.
Oh man,
wouldn't it be great if they were though?
They're all just singing in the rain, making Clockwork Orange 4Ks.
Sure. All right, guys. Good checking, Kyle. Anybody else got to check in? Zach? Any announcements you need to make? All right.
No. I had one, but it was that Kyle had completed his Kubrick filmography, so he stole it.
So. I stole your thunder. Just twice now I've stolen the show thunder.
All right. Before we jump in to our main event movie and list of the week, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget, there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com or use the app on your phone. Search Cinereelists, REEL with an S on the end. Find the video version of the podcast and watch us as you listen. You can also support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support the podcast, get extra after show audio, as well as other Cinerealist swag. You could leave us an Apple Podcast review, or you could send us a listener email to heyguys@cinereelists.com. We got a couple emails this week that we are going to read and discuss right now, starting with an email that Zach is going to read to us.
Oh, okay. This email is from Emily, and it's subjected King Richard episode feedback. Hi, Zach and James.
Awkward.
A little bit of Kyle erasure, but you weren't on this episode.
Yeah, I think
so
she's.
I think it's appropriate.
I don't think she had forgotten about you. I think you just weren't on the episode, so this feedback has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
She doesn't know your thoughts on King Richard. You
All
probably
right.
haven't even seen King Richard.
I'm gonna step out of the room for a bit, and you guys can just wave when I could rejoin the episode.
Okay, you step out of the room.
Sounds
I'm
good.
listening to episode 506 about the movie King Richard. I wanted to weigh in on the opinions about how the tennis was shot, if the actress playing Venus was really excellent at tennis or world class. Really great summary. Just good topic sentence about, I mean, it just really lays out what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah.
I have to agree with James when he says this. In quotes, I was emotionally invested in what was going on. I did not care how they shot or filmed the tennis. That is something that James said. 100% agree. This movie drew me into the story, to the family, to the girls, to the game. But I was not thinking about how the tennis was filmed, the abilities of the actresses in regards to tennis performance. So James, she's definitely Team James on this.
Yeah. I think most rationally thinking people are.
Well, I don't know why you assume that. I was thinking about this when the email came in. I came up with an example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The movie A Star Is Born
Uh-huh.
has Lady Gaga as this like kind of new up and coming singer that is not famous, but she's going to be very famous.
Okay.
And I think the movie is helped by the fact that she can sing like Lady Gaga. Because when she first gets up to that microphone and sings, she's so good. And I think that adds to the movie.
I don't think that's a good example because you're using a person who's actually good at what they're portraying in the movie, right? So you can't say like, I was convinced Lady Gaga is a good singer based on The Star Is Born because she is a good singer. I think you have to more look at example of where's a time where someone is not as good. Like Lady Gaga is as good a singer in real life as she is in that movie because it's just her singing. You need to find an example of where is someone portraying something where they're not as good as the character, but you're still convinced that through editing, through how it's shot, through their movements, you're convinced that this character is as good as we're told they are.
Right. So that's what I wanted from Little Richard. What I'm saying is James was saying that's completely unimportant. And I'm saying in A Star Is Born, it added a lot having the singer actually be world class.
Yeah, but so you want Venus Williams in this movie playing tennis.
Oh, that would have been great.
Then that's called a documentary, Zach.
No, what I'm saying is they like had the actress been phenomenal at tennis, I felt like it would have added to the movie.
No.
And I think
This
James
is
was
not-
saying
this is not
they
what I
would
was
not
saying.
have.
This is not at all what I was saying. Okay. First of all, Zach, you don't know what good tennis looks like.
Ooh.
No,
I think
neither
I
do
could
I.
tell.
Neither do
I think I could-
99% of the people who watched King Richard. None of us
The thing is,
know.
I don't need to know.
You even
because
admitted-
it would slap me in the face if I saw it.
You even admitted you don't know what world class, quote unquote, world class tennis looks like. You just assume that that's not what they put on screen.
It just didn't seem that impressive to me.
Point B, the movie is about King Richard. It's not about Venus Williams winning the world championship. It's not what happens in the movie. It's not what the movie's about. It's about whether King Richard did what he set out to do and did it in a way that makes him endearing. That's what the movie's about. Not about between the legs shot in the final seconds of the final tennis match.
You love between the leg shots. No,
I'm just
James,
saying that's the only thing in my mind that would tell me like this person's above and beyond amazing, better than everybody else. Just like when somebody dunks from the free throw line. Like it's something that does not happen unless you're Michael Jordan. I don't know what the equivalent of tennis is of that. I'm assuming it's a between the leg shot or something like that.
I don't
Don't
think
assume that.
anyone in tennis is doing between the leg shots.
No,
seems
as
like-
their signature move.
absolutely.
No, it seems
I don't know
like
about a signature
terrible
move,
form.
but it's definitely been done in tennis. Whether it's been done for like a match-winning point, I don't know about that, but it's definitely done in tennis.
All right, I need you to send us a video of a pro at a professional tournament doing a between the leg shots.
Okay.
I want to
Okay,
see this.
first of all, I think that he'll be able to find that.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely, I'll be able
also-
to find that.
I also think, James, that is not what I'm looking for. Is a between the leg shot. I'm just saying, yes, King Richard absolutely is the focus of this film,
Mhm.
but the tennis itself is not irrelevant. The whole climax of the movie is a tennis match. It's not his reaction to the tennis match. It's the tennis match is the climax.
It's
of the
his
film.
reaction to the tennis match. During the tennis match, they almost, I'd have to time it, but my memory of the movie is that they show almost as much of him in the backstage, pacing around, talking to the security guard, watching the monitor. There's like as much of that as there is of the actual tennis match. It's far more his reaction to the tennis match than it is the match itself. That's important.
No.
In that scene.
I can almost guarantee you there's more screen time on the tennis on the outside than him on the inside.
I don't know about guarantee, but I will say if that's true, and it could be, the movie did its job of making the important part of the match, to me, King Richard's reaction to what was happening. Even the fallout of the tennis match is very little about what Venus Williams is going to move on to. It's whether he's going to take this well or whether he's going to support his daughter regardless of the outcome. I don't want to get into spoilers here.
For sure.
Regardless of the outcome, is he going to be the stage dad or is he going to be the caring dad type of thing?
You know, honestly, now that we're talking about it, since he's the main character, I would have liked to see better coaching from him.
You don't
in the
even know
movie.
what good coaching looks like.
No, but here's what I will say. In that movie, right, he raised these girls from nothing to be like phenomenal, right? And really the only you just hear him say over and over, have an open stance, have an open stance. Like that is his constant refrain. It kind of seems like that's one of the 5 things he teaches them.
Mhm.
And one of the coaches, who's also apparently very good, tells them, no, have a closed stance. And we actually are never told which stance they went with in the end. Like, did the girls end up with an open stance or a closed stance, and which one was better? We're never told that. But as far as the dad's coaching like abilities, it really seems like that's the majority of what he taught them from what the movie gave us. So I'd like to see better coaching as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they definitely gave you the gist of how much he could coach them, and then at some point he realized like I have to go get them professional coaches, and then he has differences of opinion with how the professional is coaching them. But I mean, early on in the movie, he's like, I've reached the limits of what I can do. I need to go get them.
No, I
big
agree with
time
that.
coach.
It is odd. They bring up the open stance thing
Mhm.
maybe 8 times in the film. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know where they ended up, open stance or closed stance. That seems odd to me.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Maybe they are so good because they can do both. But I don't think the movie said that. I'm just making an assumption. I don't know.
All right, continuing with Emily's email. Thanks for reviewing this movie. I have watched it twice now, once in the theater and once on HBO Max. Love it. Loved it both times. I would definitely watch it a third time. 10 out of 10 or 5 stars for sure. I love listening to your podcast. You guys are so funny to listen to. The episodes are always very enjoyable. Also, have you either of you seen Clifford the Big Red Dog? I know you don't usually do kids films on the show, but I wanted to ask. I love it. A proud listener and fan, Emily M. James, Kyle, have you seen Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I have not. No.
I have not. Is that an official
haven't-
recommendation? Does one of us have to watch Clifford the Big Red Dog?
She didn't recommend it. She just says, "Have you seen it?"
Okay.
So you can take that as a recommendation if you want.
What's
I think
the
person
RT
with the youngest
on
child should see Clifford
a person
all
with a
have children.
child?
with the
We all have
youngest
children.
child.
Oh, with the youngest child.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Me too.
That we know of would be me, but I don't know what your lifestyle is.
What should the
Hold
person
on a
with the
second.
oldest child watch? Like Sallow or what's the
Yeah.
The Rotten Tomatoes on Clifford the Big Red Dog, James, you asked, is 53%.
That's not bad.
Oh, it's
No, but the Fandango is 94%.
better than
Oh.
Robin Hood.
That's true. It's a travesty, but it's true.
That's how I'm gonna rate. Look at all my movies now. Is it better or worse than Robin Hood?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Clifford the Big Red Dog. My daughter loves the Clifford books.
Oh, well,
Wait,
this is a slam dunk for you.
How would she feel about like an animated Clifford though? Because it's not the cartoon. It's a dog, a giant red
Right.
dog, and that could be upsetting.
Right. Changing mediums.
Yes, right. It's because it's not like the doe-eyed, goofy-looking house-size thing. This thing's the size of like a room,
It's now a monster.
and it's a dog. Right, right, exactly. Like in real life, if you saw a 10-foot tall red dog on the street, you would freak out. You're not gonna be like, "Oh, look how cute it is." You're gonna get
If
out of
everyone in this movie is not constantly screaming
there.
for the first 3 minutes. Also, man, the puppy stage of a gigantic dog would be hard because they like to bite and wrestle and play.
And that tail, like we're just talking street lights and windows being constantly knocked out.
Although I believe Clifford, when he was a puppy, was a rather small dog, like kind of a runt-sized dog.
I
And
thought
just
like
Grew 1,000%.
yeah,
Yes.
I thought the
Okay.
story of Clifford is that like he grew really fast. Like not only
Yeah, he
big
started
but
as a-
also fast.
Oh, he got like to adulthood quickly?
Yes.
I don't know if he like went through doggy puberty faster than other dogs. I think he just kept growing bigger.
I think he has a gland issue.
I think he's got
Because
some
he's
kind
still
of issue.
he's still kind of puppy-like as in the books. I mean, he's not wise.
Well, he might be like 2 in the books. He's not like, I don't even know how old a dog that size would live.
I think the bigger the dog, the shorter the lifespan, right?
So yeah, so Clifford's gotta have a short lifespan. I mean, it applies to like world's tallest human. What the guy's name was? Who was like 8 feet tall.
Who?
He lived into his the world's tallest human, Ralph Waldo, or something like that.
You know the guy's
Not
name?
everyone memorizes Guinness Book of World Records. for
Yeah,
fun.
Zach. Like you didn't.
You guys used to memorize the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yeah, it was in our 3rd grade library.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, he lived to be like 30s or maybe early 40s.
Yeah, Robert Wadlow.
Robert Wadlow. I was close with Ralph Waldo.
Yeah, he was 22
Okay, so not even 40s. There you go.
and he was tall.
Yeah, 8 feet or something like that. Over 8 feet.
I can't believe you pulled the name of the tallest man.
That's easy. How would you not know that?
8'11".
Almost 9 feet. Oh my goodness, man. 3rd grade Kyle will be disappointing me right now for forgetting all these facts.
What's the
Do you
name of
think he
the
was
woman
more-
with the 12-foot fingernails?
Oh, she
Oh,
remember that lady?
I was thinking of Nadia Suleiman, the Octomom.
What? She wasn't in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Probably not. I just remember that name.
Yeah. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Thankfully.
Octomom.
Octomom.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We got another email. Kyle, hit us with it.
This one says, "Hey guys," I assume I'm included in this, guys. Quick movie reco for you. I am wondering if you've heard of the upcoming film Mass. It's the directorial debut of Fran Kranz. Fran Kranz? Anyone know? Chiwetel Ejiofor. Oh, okay. You got Chiweteled.
It sounds working now, James.
Yeah, hear it now. Okay, that's a name we should know.
That
I've
made me
never
laugh. That made me
seen
laugh.
Fran Crans or Fran Crans or Fran Crans or Fran Crans.
Franz Kranz.
Franz Crans. No Z in there. It stars Jason Isaacs, Jason Isaacs, Martha Plimpton, Ann Dowd, and Reed Burney. Yeah. About 9% of the movie takes place in one room where over the course of 90 minutes, two couples hash out a very, very difficult conversation. If that's enough intrigue for you, I would for sure check it out without knowing much more going on in. It's in pretty limited release right now, but I think it would be available on demand at the end of the year. Just wanted to put that on your radar if it wasn't already. This is from friend of the show, Justin, by the way. Have you guys heard of Mass?
No.
No,
but I'm very intrigued by a movie that's just like a tough conversation around a table. That sounds interesting.
that's also 90 minutes.
Sure.
That's very promising too. All right. He has a few others that he would also endorse. Spencer.
I'll totally watch Hold on. I'll watch Mass
Mhm.
for sure, but it's definitely not available to me right now.
Okay. He endorses Spencer. This is the K. Stu Queen Di movie.
Okay.
Wait, say that again?
The K. Stu Queen Di movie. Princess Di, not Queen. This is
Wow.
the Princess Diana movie starring Kristen Stewart. Is that easier?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is easier.
Yes.
Same director as Jackie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see that. Belfast. I've heard that this is a possible Oscar contender. I know
Yeah.
nothing about it.
This one seems to be coming up often. with
Okay.
people who have seen it. So
I'm a fan of Irish cinema, so bring it on.
I'm sure we will watch it.
by that, you're a fan of Once.
I'm a fan of Once. It's not the only Irish cinema that I enjoy.
What's the other
Name
one?
Name another one without
Sing
looking
Street.
it up.
Okay. Can we get 3?
Brooklyn?
I don't think
mean,
that was
it's
made
in Ireland.
In Ireland.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like Irish culture, Irish people.
Irish
Oh,
people in
now
cinema.
we're saying Irish. Okay.
All right.
Okay. You could have said the Irishman.
Wow. You're shocked that I clarified within 20 seconds.
Well,
Wait.
I mean, you
Wait,
said Irish
when you
cinema, not
that
movies
implies
featuring
the
Irish
country
characters.
of Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And his last one, which I don't know how to pronounce this one either. It's Titane. I don't know how to pronounce this movie.
Well, it's not Titane.
It's probably not Titane. Titane, I assume.
I would think so. I don't know anything about that film.
It is. Oh, it's the same woman who directed Raw, which James, I think you've seen Raw.
I have not seen Raw.
You've not
because
seen
I'm-
Raw.
I'm scared of Raw, but I am totally in for Titane.
He does say, trigger warning, a very crazy ride, but worth watching. Yes, James, there's hype.
Yeah.
Hope all is well, and Merry Christmas. Love, as always, 1989, Justin.
Is Justin a big Always supporter? I don't remember.
He's pro always, as I believe most of our listeners are.
I don't know about that. Kyle, you're a former listener. Are you an Always fan?
I haven't seen Always, but I will admit that on paper, it does not sound interesting to me.
Yeah, well, you're right.
What, a late 80s Spielberg doesn't sound interesting to you?
A late 80s Spielberg about like a ghost pilot?
With Richard Dreyfuss?
I'd rather watch like Jaws or
What
Close
about
Encounters
Ghost? What about Ghost Pilot doesn't appeal to you?
of... Not just because two things separately are cool doesn't mean they're cool together.
I beg to differ.
I'm willing to bet most of the listenership falls in Kyle's camp. They've never seen it
Yeah.
Agreed.
because
And that's
it's a Spielberg movie that nobody cares about because it's not good.
nobody is a little rough to say when we have an email.
Most.
Clearly from
Most.
a super fan.
Well, no,
Most of them.
he just cited it. It was a reference. I wouldn't say he's a fan.
That's true. That's true.
If Justin wants to send us a follow-up email, or if anyone else wants to email us about their opinions on Always, we are happy to accept them.
Oh yeah.
Kyle will personally pay for anyone to buy the Blu-ray of Always and watch it at home and give us a review. So just
I will I?
Yeah, he will. Just ask for his Venmo or your Venmo, one of the two. Someone's gonna pay someone. You could pay Kyle or he could pay you. I don't care.
You can pay me to watch Always if you'd like. I'd happily accept that money.
Awesome.
All right, James, what are we doing this week?
We are going to talk about a movie. Yeah, a movie, and then we're going to talk about a list vaguely related to that movie. So let's start with step one, the movie itself. We watched a movie that's available on Netflix right now. The title of the movie is The Power of the Dog. Here's a clip.
25 years since our first run together. 1900 and nothing.
It's a long time.
What you doing? Getting mixed up with her.
You are marvelous, Rose. We were married someday.
That was The Power of the Dog, a 2021 Western drama written and directed by Jane Campion, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, Cody Smith-McPhee, amongst others. The official IMDb plot synopsis of The Power of the Dog is: charismatic rancher Phil Burbank inspires fear and awe in those around him. When his brother brings home a new wife and her son, Phil torments them until he finds himself exposed to the possibility of love. So we should say that that's a horrible,
That's terrible.
horrible plot synopsis, I would say. I mean, they got the gist of the basic characters, I would say, but
Sure.
I mean,
That's
it's
funny.
there. It's not a
The-
horrible plot synopsis, but it's not
The
best
first
either.
2/3 is fine, and then that last sentence
is brutal, right?
yeah, no.
We should also say that we are going to split this review into two parts. So we're going to talk spoiler free right now. And then at the end of the podcast, we're going to have a little spoiler chat about the details of the movie. Because not that there's any like huge twists in the movie or anything like that, but there's definitely some unexpected things that happen throughout the film that I'd like to talk about. So stick around after the podcast for the spoiler chat. But for now, spoiler free. What did you guys think of The Power of the Dog?
Kyle.
So this movie took me a while to get into. A lot of there's the four main characters they talked about, right? You've got Benedict Cumberbatch as the head rancher, Jesse Plemons, his brother, Kirsten Dunst, the new wife, then Cody Smith-McPhee, Kirsten Dunst's son. And for the first, I'd say 2/3 of this movie, we're kind of jumping between these four characters. And I wasn't quite sure like who exactly was the main character or the focus of this movie. And I wasn't even quite sure what direction this movie was going in. Like it was very slice of lifey at first. And I would say for a good chunk of it. This movie is a slow burn. But then around the beginning of Act 3, something starts to happen, and you're like, oh, this movie's going somewhere. And then I would say the final 10 minutes locked me into like this movie. So
you didn't
there was
you didn't like it until that third act starts.
I don't know skeptical was the word, but I was definitely like, where are we going with this? And I had that feeling for a good 2/3 of the movie. But I think the movie brought it together, and the more I think about it, the more I saw how those first 2/3 are kind of just building these characters, building this world. We're kind of learning about each one of them, and then that informs what happens in the third act and then in the final 10 minutes. So I would say that this is a movie that you have to stick with, and it's gonna be, at least for me, 2/3 of like, okay, so where are we going with this? But I was quite pleased with the ending and the kind of the payoff and where the movie ended up. So I would say that I overall enjoyed this movie.
Cool.
Nice.
I I enjoyed this movie visually, and I like the time period and setting a lot. You know, a lot of westerns you kind of get like, you know, they're post Civil War, that kind of thing. But this one was set in uh, the first quarter century of the 19th or 20th century in Montana,
Mhm.
and that's where my great grandparents lived. They lived in Montana in the beginning of the 20th century. And so it was cool kind of seeing, like, imagining them in this town kind of a thing. And it's really well shot.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of references to like the searchers and things like that visually. Um, I liked how it was shot. I didn't enjoy the pacing of it. I thought it was kind of all over the map as far as pacing. There was a lot of fast action in the film with also slow acting, and the difference between those two I felt jarring. Overall, I would say I didn't enjoy this movie. Um, you know, there's 4 central performances, and they're all so different that I just did not feel a cohesion among the cast as far as like these people are in the same movie. You know, Jesse Plemons was probably my least favorite because he is so stripped down
Mhm.
where he is just like a sack of potatoes in this movie. And it doesn't make sense that his brother is Benedict Cumberbatch because their characters are so different in a way that never makes sense. You know, they never said like, okay, these guys, yes, have this kind of shared thing going on, but then also differ in these major ways. They just felt like just complete. Like if you said one came from California, the other one came from New York, I'd be like, okay, cool, you know.
You didn't feel a bond, like a brotherly bond between them, whether they were
Or
adversaries or not.
yeah, or like any type of shared legacy or anything.
I
Um,
I got the impression that the Benedict Cumberbatch character was significantly older than his brother.
yeah, that could be
So that
because
could,
he
yeah.
knew the whoever was the guy he idolized.
Oh, Butch Henry, was that the name?
Yeah,
I kept saying
Kirsten
Bill.
Bronco.
Kirsten Bronco.
See, there
that's
we go.
right.
I did not Butch Bronco.
Kirsten Dunst was good, and I welcomed her in this film, but she became more and more one-dimensional as the film went on. And then Cody Smith McPhee was great. I really liked his character. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't end up enjoying this movie. But there are things to appreciate, I guess. James, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it a lot for sure. I think it's unique as a Western, like compared to what you'd expect from a Western as far as tropes. Like there's not much as far as tropes in here, despite the fact that it's a Western. I don't know if that's the setting or just the way the characters treat things, or some of the plot elements or characteristics. I don't know. Just not, there's a lot of stuff in here that I didn't expect from a Western. Now it's a slow burn, which is common of Westerns. You kind of like a lot of these movies, you build up to a big climax shootout type of thing. And movie doesn't exactly give you that, but it does give you a build up to something over a long lead up. And I like that. I liked all the dynamics. Like, I'll agree with Zach that probably the weakest dynamic is Jesse Plemons whenever he interacts with people. Like, his intentions and the way he's going to react to other characters are pretty well defined in the first half hour, and then he just does that through the rest of the movie. It never amps or gets any different, like the way he has relationships with people. But the scene where they're on the hill and he's talking to another character, it got to me, and that is early on in the movie. I was like, wow, that is just not something you see a guy say on screen very often, much less in a Western. You know, that type of expressing of feelings and vulnerability. I thought that it's just interesting because that's not what Westerns are known for sure. I mean, even some of the most sensitive of Westerns don't have that type of language in it. I thought it was like a really mature way to show a moment in a relationship. That's I guess what I would say about this as a Western is that it's a very mature Western. Like if you look at the trappings of typical Westerns, a lot of it is based in like male fantasy and stuff like that, you know, guns and riding horses and roping steers and, you know, like all the fun stuff about being a cowboy or a gangster or an outlaw. And this movie just doesn't play in that world at all. And that probably makes it less fun, but I enjoyed kind of living in this more grounded version of probably what an experience could have been for people in Montana during this time period. And I really liked Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie. Like I thought his movie or his performance was super interesting and like the beginning of the movie he felt very much like a cliche, and then
He did.
maybe halfway through I was like, okay, I'm not supposed to treat him like a cliche. Like they're giving you layers to him where you're like, do you want us to care about this guy or is he just a jaded jerk type of thing? And then by the end of the movie, and we'll get into it more in spoilers, but it's just I like the progression of Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie, and it's probably the first movie I've seen where he holds the star performance of the movie for me. Like in The Imitation Game, he's the lead in that movie. We talked about doing a Benedict Cumberbatch list, and if you look at his filmography, it's rare that he's the lead of a movie unless it's like you know, a superhero movie or something
Doctor
like that.
Strange, yeah.
Yeah, he's always the supporting character. Not always, but often the supporting character. And this, he's not the supporting character of this movie. He's definitely a part of the ensemble. But I feel like it's definitely his movie, and everybody else exists to drive the story of whether you should care about this caricature. And it worked for me for sure. By the end, I did not expect the ending, and yeah, I think it's pretty unique. A lot of people don't like what's the movie with Michelle Williams where they're out on the prairie. I'm drawing a complete
Is that
blank.
Meek's Cutoff?
Meek's Cutoff because of the pacing and the sparse characterization. To me, this is like not a better version of Meek's Cutoff, but it's like Meek's Cutoff, but with more characterization, like more to chew on over the course, and certainly has an ending worth talking about. Whereas Meek's Cutoff is like a vibe movie, if there could be.
I liked Meek's Cutoff a lot more, and I don't see the pace as similar. I think Meek's Cutoff is slow cinema, which for Western I think fits really well. Especially in the first half of this film, I did not find this film slow. I thought that the pacing was jarring because of how quick it was. For me personally. Yeah, I'm fine with slow Westerns. I think that's how I think of a Western. It's kind of just ambling.
Do you mean quick pacing as in there's large time jumps? Not large, but it wasn't like day to day. There would be sort of events would happen that we jump forward in indiscriminate amount of time.
It wouldn't spend a long time in a scene.
Okay. Yep.
It would jump forward a lot. There was a lot of momentum to it, which I'm just not used to in a Western.
So I have not seen Meek's Cutoff, but I've seen the other movie by the same director, First Cow. And this movie did give me First Cow vibes in the pacing, in the tone. Though I would say I liked First Cow better than this one.
They're definitely different movies. Like I would say The Power of the Dog has a deviousness to it that First Cow does not have.
First Cow has almost like a wholesomeness to the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like this is the first movie, certainly the first Western that I've seen that very succinctly set up a bad guy, or who like the intended bad guy, the guy that you know is going to be the problem of the movie. And then at some point in the movie, they ask the question like, who did this to you, to that guy.
Mhm.
And I just think that's an interesting thing to ask in a Western because it's just not asked. The bad guy is the guy who chomps the cigar and comes in and steals the women. You know what I mean? Robs the bank or whatever. And this movie dared to ask that question. And I think the playing out of what happens in the movie, how the other characters react to it, how a young person reacts to the bad guy, just how that person's reaction is so different than the adults. I liked all that. I think I agree with Zach that maybe it's not a slow burn. Maybe it's just that there was enough character details in there for me. There was enough building of character over time that it felt like it's more than we normally get. Because I'm used to like Marvel movies and like all this other stuff where they're just constantly throwing things at you and moving you from one scene to the next. So when you finally sit down and watch a movie made for adults only, you know what I mean? You forget that like most of them have this pacing. Most of them give you time to learn about characters, see details about them, make your own decisions about what those details mean. And then, you know, there's still plot there, there's still payoffs, and your assumptions are either proven or disproven. And a lot of blockbuster popcorn entertainment, which I love, doesn't have that, or doesn't swim in those seas. They want to get you into the action and the fun faster. And yeah, I feel like I've had less of that this year. I don't know if it's just because I'm seeing less movies, not going to the movie theater as often. I don't know.
I think less of those movies are made. I mean, like if we're looking at is money driving what's being made for movies, you're gonna get less of these of adult cinema where there's a slower pacing and we're spending more time building our characters and less on just let's fill the seats or fill the streamer, however you want to put it. So
Yeah.
I mean I don't know the budget for this movie, but I imagine this is a kind of movie that does not get made as much as it used to.
Could be. I mean, you could make comparisons to this and kind of Ex Machina type movies. You know what I mean? That's not a Western, but like I feel like the pacing of this is very similar to that. It's not trying to be in a hurry, and it's trying to give you clues as to the intentions of people over the course, and then you have an event at the end. It feels like a very tried and true formula. It's just I feel like maybe lately I just haven't seen much of that.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because Ex Machina, although it may not be like the fastest paced movie, it is constantly progressing the plot forward, and it does have quite a finale. But we don't all of a sudden arrive to that point. Where this movie, I felt like for the most part, we arrived to his conclusion suddenly, and it's not a slight to the movie. Some people might find it like left field, possibly, but I think that's what kind of makes this movie different is for me at least, we were spending so much time just building character and building the world. And there are obviously little drips as we went along. It wasn't like completely sudden. But this movie for me really was a left turn at the end. But successful.
Zach?
I mean, y'all keep talking about it as slow pace. I don't feel like it's slow pace.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's like in 1 minute they meet and then they're married and then the next the kid's in college and then the next. I mean, it's just like it's constantly pushing forward, 6 months every 5 minutes,
Yeah, it's pushing forward time, though. It's not pushing forward plot.
Sure. Yeah. Because it's a movie about characters. I totally agree with that. For me, the real winners are the setting. I love seeing a Western that has cars in it. I think that's so interesting and great. And I love seeing inside the restaurant, and all those kind of things.
That ranch house was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen a house that cool in a movie like this.
But still, for a movie that really does want to be more about character than plot, and that's absolutely goal of this movie, I do feel like Kirsten Dunst's character becomes very one-dimensional in the second half. I mean, to the point where she has a bad, night, and then you see her like with a bottle like that night, and that's the instigating incident. You know what I mean? Jesse Plemons was just a sack of potatoes. I would much rather have a movie with Scott McPhee and Benedict Cumberbatch, and like where they are the two characters that we're interested in, and everyone else can be secondary, rather than this kind of like 4-person ensemble. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. If you guys loved it, go for it. I mean, that's great. And the ending did not clinch it for me. It didn't save it for me because, yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it in spoilers for sure.
Yeah, I would say the plot machinations of the ending didn't put it over the top for me. It was the progression of the Cumberbatch character that did it for me.
That's more what I want to talk about in spoilers, because I think I saw him I saw depth being added to him. Like we got more layers to him, but he was just still a bully. It was like now he's a bully that can care about things, but like I don't know if there was any type of redemption for him. So I don't know. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if we were trying to redeem his bulliness or just more explain it. Because I did feel for the first half like he's just a bully. He's a jerk. And then we started learning more about him. Like, okay, I can see how his past could lead him to have these behaviors. But if it was just, I mean, like character wise, we've seen the smarter than, more talented, more wiser than everyone else, but still a jerk character. Like that's a trope at this point. So I appreciate that the movie shed a little light on how this person turned out this way.
Originally, this movie was cast with Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Moss in the Kirsten Dunst role, and Paul Dano in the Jesse Plemons role. Would you have liked that better, Zach?
I think it would have been a very similar movie.
Really? I don't think Paul Dano can pull off what Jesse Plemons did in this movie.
I agree with that, but I just I love There Will Be Blood, and even though Paul Dano is like a black hole of interestingness, he doesn't ruin that movie at all. So
that's why I was wondering, because I know you dislike Paul Dano performances, I would say.
Well, he's just, I mean, people apply him to wet paint to make it dry faster.
Jeez. Wow. I think he would have gone bigger than Jesse Plemons. Like Jesse Plemons is pretty reserved.
Sure.
Oh, I thought Paul Dano. I was assuming Paul Dano was going to be the Cody Smith McPhee.
No. The Jesse Plemons character.
Oh,
the brother.
Okay, I gotcha. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think it would have made more sense. I think
now.
Paul Dano looks more like Benedict Cumberbatch than Jesse Plemons and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, they could have been. So yeah,
for sure.
Can I tell you 2 nitpicks I had with this movie?
Sure.
Yeah.
So this movie is beautiful. It's shot incredibly well. I don't think we mentioned that Jane Campion directed it. I've never seen The Piano, but I think that's her probably most famous movie.
Yes, that's the one I've heard of.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen The Piano.
Okay. This movie was shot in New Zealand, and Montana does not look like New Zealand.
Sure.
I thought it kind of looked like Montana.
With these rolling green hills. Like I imagine Montana, or not imagine. I've been to Montana, and the parts of Montana I've seen are much more mountainous. And these were small these were foothills covered in green grass, and not more of like that front range of when I picture Montana.
So there were these green grass hills, but there were also these completely grassless, like high foothill mountains
in the movie.
Specifically, the one that he stared at, that he would love to stare at, and then the guy stared at with him or whatever. That mountain had no grass.
I thought that was a grassy mountain, also just lots of shadows on it. Okay.
I don't think it was. In fact, I took a screenshot of it. Let me look at my screenshot right now.
Please do. So
I drove through Wyoming
grass.
as a kid. I don't remember much of it. So
okay.
I don't remember exactly, but I do know that Slow West was filmed in New Zealand. It didn't bother me there. Doesn't bother me here.
All right. Well,
I was in Montana earlier this year, and it felt to me like Montana.
You weren't paying attention then. Your eyes were open, but your mind was closed, man. All right. My other nitpick, I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch can do a good American accent.
I don't
And
know.
I think this applies to Doctor Strange also. I don't think he's good at the American accent.
Does he do an American accent in Doctor Strange?
Oh yeah, Doctor Strange is not British.
I know he's not
Yeah.
British, but I thought he has like a little bit of an accent.
No, that's just
to him.
Benedict Cumberbatch not knowing how to change his accent. Like he just flattens everything out. That's how he does it. Like it just kind of goes to the back of his throat and it makes it flat. But like even watching Megan's like, is he Irish? I can't tell. Like his accent is wobbly. And there's a lot of British actors who can do great American accents, and I don't think he's one of them.
Interesting. I never noticed.
Okay.
I was into it.
I will say Megan did not enjoy this movie.
I mean, it's not exactly a feel-good movie. I'm not saying Megan only likes feel-good movies. I'm just saying if you're looking for a feel-good movie, it's not this one.
No.
For sure. It's not a romp or an adventure film it's a straightforward drama in a time that was really rough and hard.
And when we say Western, like this is not, I mean, there's horses. This is not horses and chases and guns and all that. Like it is ranching Western.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Are there any guns in this film at all?
I don't remember any.
I don't
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's letterbox The Power of the Dog, and we'll get into a little bit of a spoiler discussion. What are you guys gonna give The Power of the Dog?
I'm gonna give this 4 stars.
Wow.
I gave it
Wow.
4.5.
Okay. I give it a 2.
Wow.
Wow.
A 2.
You really did not like this
Zach really
movie.
didn't like it.
No. So a 5 is neutral. Sorry. So 2.5. A 2.5 is neutral. I do everything on a 10 point and then down convert.
Yeah, okay.
A 2.5 is neutral. So I just slightly disliked it compared to neutral. That's what my scale is.
Okay.
Sure.
So you are a step below
2
neutral.
stars. Yeah.
All right, fair.
I didn't hate it for sure, but I slightly disliked it.
All right. So a 4, a 4.5, and a 2 for The Power of the Dog. We will have spoiler chat at the end of the episode, so stick around after the credits. All right, let's get into our list for this week. We made a list of the top 10 movies with rabbits, which is something we barely mentioned in the review of The Power of the Dog.
I
would
don't think
say
we mentioned at all that there's a
It's
rabbit.
not worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
movie
think we
has a
mentioned
rabbit.
it in the spoilers, and so we probably shouldn't say why there's
The
a
spoilers
link.
haven't happened yet.
Yeah, those spoilers. And so there is a rabbit in this movie. It's not a particular huge plot point. It's not like there's a spoiler in the existence of the rabbit. And we threw out suggestions of what to do a list on for this movie. And somehow we landed on this, even though it doesn't relate much other than surface level relation. So, top 10 movies with rabbits. Who would like to go first? And give us a context for how you made your list.
All right. I'll go first because my list is slightly different than you just described.
Okay.
My list is top 10 movie rabbits.
Okay.
And how's that
So-
different than what James described?
He said movies with rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a list of 10 movies. I have a list of 10 rabbits.
Okay, so you're focusing specifically on the rabbits.
Rabbits from
Yeah, movie
movies.
rabbits. Yes.
Are you-
Because I
are you-
wouldn't describe this as a rabbit movie. It has a rabbit. It has 2 rabbits in this movie, but they're so inconsequential to anything. You know what I mean?
Oh.
They're not good. That well, it has consequence. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But it's not the most important thing that happens.
So
Anyways.
are you ranking the rabbits or are you still ranking the movies?
I'm ranking the rabbits
And how are you ranking the rabbits?
by how much I like the rabbit characters.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And I will say the movie that they're in could play into it, like bump it up 1 or 2, or down 1 or 2, that kind of thing. Like for instance, Bugs Bunny is not on my list just because I like Bugs Bunny, but not from Space Jam. You know, I like Bugs Bunny from like Looney Tunes. Yeah. So you guys are, I think, are gonna have movies with rabbits. I'm having movie rabbits. That's my top 10 list.
You're making an assumption.
Yeah, I am, and I'm anxious to be proven wrong. But I will say my number 10 favorite movie rabbit is the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. And I think that's a fun character because he's just obsessed with getting to where he's going on time, and he's just late. And I like having a character in a movie where you just can't reason with the guy because they're so focused on something.
Mhm.
And the best you can do is just follow him. And I like the White Rabbit. And it's a character that shows up in The Matrix. And I think it's cool that you can cross genres and decades and stuff like that. So the White Rabbit,
Nice.
number 10.
It's a great Jefferson Airplane song also.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane?
He does.
I have no clue.
If-
I've never heard of White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
You have, oh my goodness. If we wouldn't get dinged on the YouTube rights, James would make that the final song into this podcast, but we can't anymore. So
I'm not convinced I know any Jefferson Airplane.
you know Somebody to Love.
That's Jefferson Airplane?
Yes, that's Jefferson Airplane.
Like the Don't You Need Somebody to Love?
That's Jefferson Airplane, yes.
That's a good song.
And White Rabbit. I mean, they have other songs too, but those are probably their two most famous.
Is this the one that's in like lots of trailers? The One Pill Makes You Larger
Yeah,
one?
that's the one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've heard that song.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
It's
Just like
pretty
you've heard
psychedelic.
plenty of Prince songs.
Prince?
All right. I also made a top 10 list of, I would say, rabbit-related movies, and this is kind of all over the place. Sometimes there's a rabbit character. Sometimes there's a rabbit imagery. Sometimes there's a story about a rabbit. But somehow rabbits play a role in some way, shape, or form in these movies. And I kind of rank them by how significant the rabbit is in the movie. Yeah.
So it's become more and more significant as you go.
I think so. I'm sure you guys might disagree on some of them, and that's totally fine. But I was trying to like not just do it by how much do I like the movie,
Sure.
but like how significant is the rabbits in it.
So now I know you're number 1.
I don't know. You probably do know number 1. All right. So my number 10 then is Of Mice and Men from 1992, directed by Gary Sinise, starring Gary Sinise and John Malkovich.
Wait, the 92 version is on your list?
I think that's the only version I've seen of the story.
I feel like I've seen one from like that's black and white.
All right. Well, while you
in school.
look that up, yeah, I watched this in school too. So this is based on the John Steinbeck novel Of Mice and Men, and it's about two kind of wandering ranch hands / farmers during the Depression. Gary Sinise is playing George, and then John Malkovich is playing Lenny. And Lenny is, I guess you could say, a mentally disabled man. He's kind of like a gentle giant sort of character. And throughout the story, Lenny and George, they have this dream of running their own farm. And Lenny specifically just wants to have pet rabbits on the farm. And they're trying to make it. And things don't go very well. And at the very pivotal end of the movie, George recites to Lenny their dream about having a farm and having rabbits before the movie comes to its conclusion, which I don't want to spoil for people who have not seen Of Mice and Men.
That book is so sad.
It's very sad, yeah. But rabbits play a role.
It's true. Good point.
Thank
Great pick.
Never seen it or read it, so I don't know.
I mean, it's a novella, so you could read it in a
It's
night.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
it's quick.
I'll pass.
It's better than The Pearl. Jeez, you want to talk about come on. Metaphor 101. The Pearl was so heavy-handed.
I liked Of Mice and Men way better than The Pearl.
Thank you very much. Like, The Pearl was written for 8th grade English class.
6th grade English class.
Yeah.
James.
Yes. Speaking of 8th or 6th
Favorite
grade.
Steinbeck?
My number 10 is from 2016. It's Zootopia, which has a great rabbit character in it. Judy Hopps. Yeah, she's like the main character of the movie, and I like her character. Full of energy and enthusiasm, and fun movie. That where's the sequel to Zootopia? I'm ready. Give it to me. I should say my list is probably more random than both of yours. It's like basically just I thought of movies that had rabbits in it, whether it was a main character, whether it was a minor character, whether it was just there happened to be a live rabbit in the movie for one reason or another. It was memorable to me, and so it made my list. And then I ranked them, I guess, by how much the rabbit is related to what's going on. But there's definitely some situations here where that doesn't hold true. So I don't really know what the ranking is. But I definitely have a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3. And maybe the rest of them are kind of randomish. But I did put them in order, and I'm sticking to it. My number 10, Zootopia.
These are my favorite lists when we all kind of have our own interpretation.
Oh, I love
what
that.
we're doing, and
I do like that.
I mean, I don't think this will be 30 unique movies, but we're gonna get a lot of different answers.
Sure.
Yes. Now, my number 9 is going to be on both of your lists.
Mhm.
It is Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And the answer is Christopher Lloyd framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah. This is the Zemeckis movie. I think Roger's a fun character. He's a little annoying. So he's not going to be number 1 on my list because he's a little annoying.
He's a living cartoon. Like,
yeah.
That's a lot to be around.
Yeah. He's a little much.
Yeah.
But he's also like a good guy. I like good guys. He's, he's fun. I would be friends with Roger for sure.
I mean, Jessica Rabbit loves him. It's a good job, Roger.
I don't know. She's kind of one-dimensional. I don't know if she really... I don't get a sense of her personality from that film.
She's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
That's true. Yeah, so Roger Rabbit is my number 9.
Cool.
All right. My number 9 is The Witch from 2015, directed by Robert Eggers. There is a few times... Now, I'm going to go off script here. This is actually a hare, not a rabbit.
Ooh,
I know.
Not allowed.
I
not
know.
allowed.
I'm sorry. So
We said rabbits.
there's a few time that a hare is shown on screen, and we're not quite sure why. It's just kind of like menacingly watching things. There's a lot of menace in this movie, and during in folk tales, it was often believed that witches could transform into hares, and that's how they could interact with the human world and the nature world and travel safely. So the implication in The Witch is every time you see that hare, it is the witch watching the humans.
Okay.
Nice. Love that movie. I need to find that in 4K. I know it's out there.
It's still like $15. I'm just waiting for it to drop to 10, and then I'm picking it up.
Yep. For sure. Zach?
I'm curious what yours is.
Oh, I'm next. My
are.
number 9 is Con Air from 1997. I don't know if you remember, but
Oh yeah.
there was a stuffed rabbit that plays in 2 key scenes in the movie with a bunch of ridiculous lines spoken by Nicolas Cage. Like I think at one point he's telling a guy to put a rabbit back in the box. He's like fighting him under the plane. And the guy won't put the stuffed rabbit back in the box. And at this point in the movie, you don't know why. It's like important for this guy not to be messing with this stuffed rabbit. And then, he just keeps saying, put the rabbit back into the box type of thing. And the guy's like, you're insane. And then later on, the John Malkovich character literally puts a gun to the stuffed rabbit's head and says something like, take one step closer and the rabbit gets it. And Nicolas Cage treats it as a serious hostage situation. And the movie's just ridiculous. And for some reason, in my brain, it's related to rabbits. And that's why it's my number 9.
Love it.
Nice. My number 8 is Brer Rabbit from Song of the South.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's
Have you
up?
listened to the podcast?
Yeah, what's up? That's not a movie
What
I'd put on any
podcast?
top 10 list.
You have not listened to who is it?
You must
the
remember
Hollywood
this.
You must remember. Yeah, thank you. You must remember this. She does a whole Song of the South series.
Yeah.
And you learn about the racist implication or the racist past of Brer Rabbit.
Well, okay, so I was just about to say I've loved Brer Rabbit since a child when I read a book about Brer Rabbit. And I just Googled to find the name of the book, and I'm regretting my life choices.
Yeah,
Because the name of the book was Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby.
Yeah, Brer Rabbit was basically a folktale created by white people to teach recently freed slaves how to behave in society.
Well, I didn't know that.
It's okay. As a kid, I didn't know that either. I liked Song of the South as a kid too. I completely understand where you're coming from on this.
I liked Brer Rabbit because he's kind of this tricksy, clever rabbit.
Yeah, gee, tricksy and clever.
Oh dear.
It's okay. Though I do highly recommend. You must remember this is a great movie podcast, but her whole series on Song of the South is excellent.
I listened to a ton of them. Clearly, I missed that series.
I didn't finish it. Like I started listening to it. I can't stand what's her name. So
Right,
Katrina Longworth.
Famously
yeah, I don't
do
like.
not like
I don't
her.
like her
Yes.
approach. And also,
This
she
week
wronged
on
me on the internet a long
Cinereelists.
time ago.
She wronged you?
She wronged me personally on the internet.
She
a
did.
Long,
No,
long time
that's
ago.
that's a thing.
Wow.
It's actually
okay.
a thing.
We'll need to,
Yeah.
we'll need to say that story for another time. I want to hear that
He's
story.
told it before, I think, on the show.
All right.
Did I do it on a show or a Patreon? I don't remember.
Probably Patreon.
Probably. And
Zach, would you
now
like to
Karina
stand by?
Longworth married to who?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. Yep. So she won, evidently.
All right. I'm going to replace it with Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh.
That was a good one. That was my one of my honorable mentions for sure.
Now that rabbit, Zach. No. All right. All right. My number 8 is Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. This is a movie from 2008 starring Michael Cera as Nick and Kat Dennings as Nora. They play two high school students who just got out of relationships and are kind of in the alternative late night music scene in New York City. And they meet each other and they kind of have this adventure of an evening together. And the big part of their evening is they're trying to find a band called Where's Fluffy. And Where's Fluffy is this band that doesn't announce its shows. It just leaves clues around the city about where they're going to play. And those clues are in the form of a picture of a rabbit. So throughout the movie, they're, falling in love and interacting and also looking for Where's Fluffy clues to go to the great Fluffy concert. Have you guys seen this movie?
Absolutely. I've seen it.
Okay.
Don't remember the details though. I just remember that it's really like a hangout movie about a young relationship. But I don't remember the details for sure.
It's like it's Juno, but with a more mature sensibility.
Sure. Okay.
Like Juno, everyone's like, hey, home slice, and it's kind of got this kind of kiddie aspect to it.
Yeah, sure.
Nick and Nora has the same kind of idea of like young love, but it's not quite as like, I don't know, Napoleon Dynamite about the whole thing.
Yeah, I will say it's like one of Michael Cera's more interesting performances.
For sure, yeah.
Because he's playing it low key and not. His quirkiness is more realistic in this than anything else I saw him in.
Yeah. Less quirky than Juno. That's probably a good way of putting it.
Yeah. For sure. Can you guys hear
James?
that? Can you hear my neighbors fighting?
No.
No,
So-
but what are they saying?
They're so loud. I don't know, but I can actually hear it like from the second floor. They don't normally fight.
Whose side are you on?
There's definitely something going on down there.
Can you move your microphone closer to the floor?
No, I'm not gonna
Okay.
violate people's privacy.
No,
Besides
it's not a violation. They are yelling loud enough to be heard.
that-
How
sure.
dare they?
But I think putting your ear to the floor to hear every word is a little intrusive, maybe.
Well, tell my neighbors that from 10 years ago.
Oh, really? You listened in on your neighbors? What's up?
They
bro?
had incredible fights. Like, well, I had to call the cops one time. I was like, this is not good.
Wow, you thought something was happening, huh?
My favorite fight was they were fighting over the fact that it was a man and a woman. They were together. They had a small child,
Mhm.
and they were fighting over the fact that he wanted to do cocaine on his birthday, and he bought the cocaine from their babysitter.
She was mad that he bought it from the babysitter.
No, she was mad that he wanted to do cocaine. And he says, I just wanted to do cocaine from our babysitter. Like, that's a verbatim quote from that fight. I was like, oh my goodness.
Where did you live, Kyle? People are doing cocaine around you.
I lived in a very quiet, this was on the west side of Madison, a very quiet, nice part of Madison. And my neighbors were apparently buying cocaine from their babysitter.
All right, then.
What he doesn't say in this story is that he's the babysitter.
By the way, do you guys need?
All right. Are we ready for my number 9?
We are.
Speaking of cocaine,
Well,
my movie's from the 80s. And it's called
You're number 8.
Fatal Attraction. Have you guys ever
good
heard
show.
of that movie?
Heard of it, haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I know the scene you're talking about.
Okay. I'll just say the kitchen bunny is a very memorable scene from Fatal Attraction. And that's where I'll leave it. My number 8.
Cool. My number 7 is Harvey, the 6-foot puka from Harvey. And I've talked about it on the show before, but this is the Jimmy Stewart movie where he sees an invisible 6-foot rabbit that no one else can see, and he talks with it. And yeah, it's a odd, fun little Jimmy Stewart movie. And I kind of like Harvey.
If this is too much of a spoiler, don't answer it. But does the movie ever say whether Harvey is a manifestation of his brain or whether it exists in a magical world where he can only see the rabbit?
Oh, don't answer that.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay.
I could tell you a movie that has similar vibes, but that might be spoiler.
Donnie Darko. I mean, it's
No, well, no, but that's obviously inspired by it.
Okay. All right. I'm interested in that one, but I always forget about it. You talk about it,
That's okay.
and then I'm like, yeah, I should see that, and then I don't. I think
Okay.
that's has to do more with the Jimmy Stewart-ness of it than the premise. I think I'm attracted to the premise, and then the Jimmy Stewart-ness kills all enthusiasm.
I don't know what you have against Jimmy Stewart.
I don't
He's awesome.
He's great.
I don't have anything against him other than the affectation. I can't get past it.
I don't think it's an affectation.
No, I think that's his voice.
Yeah, it feels put on. I don't know if it is. but
No,
it feels
I
like
think
it.
that's just how he talks. He's got a little southern in him.
Kyle, let's hear it.
You want me to my Jimmy Stewart?
I do.
With or without vocal fry?
With vocal fry.
I could do like, oh, Harvey. I mean, that's the best I could do.
Okay.
But that is like the caricature of Jimmy Stewart.
No, that's how he talks. That's
No,
what I
that's
hear.
not how he-
That's what I hear
no.
in my head every time I hear him talk.
That's you watching Animaniacs, and they're like, oh, I'm Jimmy Stewart, and then that's how you think he speaks. But that's not how he talks.
That is how he talks. I've seen
No.
movies with him. I'm like,
No.
that's the guy. Yeah, I hear it.
Zach, let's hear your Jimmy Stewart.
In the Patreon.
No.
I gotta think about it.
You
I gotta
can't put
think
me on
about
the
it.
spot. I
You-
did it on the spot.
You want me to give it away for free?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I guess I'll have to do it then.
So we're doing caricatures of
The worst
Jimmy
ever.
Stewart.
I just my yeah. It's kind of a Walter Cronkite too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The president has been shot.
Kyle, what's your number 7?
I love Jimmy Stewart. He's awesome.
It's great, yeah. I considered Harvey, but I knew you were going to put it on your list, so I decided not to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
what did you put number 7?
My number 7 is Us from 2019, Jordan Peele. This is a doppelganger horror movie, the best way to put it. And as we learn more about the doppelgangers and where they come from, let's just say there's a bunch of rabbits that are involved in the story too. I guess you could spoil it. I don't want to spoil us. So
Then don't.
we'll just say there are rabbits.
I wouldn't say the rabbits are the big twist of the movie.
No, but they're no, they're not. But they definitely I say that imagery wise, they play a prominent role in that third act.
Sure. I think they're
Like, there's-
representative of some explanations of what's going on.
Yes,
Sure.
yeah,
They're a visual metaphor.
thank
Yes.
you. Metaphorical, literal rabbits.
Right. My number 7 is from 1989. It's Harry the Rabbit in Meet the Feebles. Have you either of you seen Meet the Feebles? From
No.
Lord of the Rings and King Kong director Peter Jackson.
Is that a puppet movie?
It is a puppet movie. It's a
Okay.
large puppet movie, like literally large puppets. Some of them like, nearly exact size. It's big animals in the.
This movie looks traumatizing.
It's absolutely Peter Jackson before he decided he wanted to be a Hollywood filmmaker. This was like when he was making low budget, absolutely insane movies in New Zealand, and he was just like absolutely like punk rock director making things that he intentionally made as offensive as he possibly could. And in this movie, there's a rabbit and also a hippopotamus and all kinds of other different animals acting in the worst of human ways possible, I would say. It's definitely a cult film, and I prefer mainstream Peter Jackson for sure, but it's super interesting to watch a movie like Meet the Feebles, knowing where Peter Jackson has gone to post Meet the Feebles. And it explains a lot. This movie and a couple of the other ones from the time explain a lot about why Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, is so good. It's because he hasn't completely washed himself of that time period where he will do kind of some edgy things. And then by the time you get to The Hobbit, not that I have a huge problem with the Hobbit movies, but he's definitely like Hollywood Peter Jackson by the time he gets to the Hobbit movies. Whereas with Lord of the Rings, like the look and feel of the Iroquois and like some of the other character designs are like absolutely old Peter Jackson stuff that he's pushed into Lord of the Rings. And Meet the Feebles, while you won't watch it and say, oh, I see shades of Lord of the Rings in this, it's super interesting to see that a guy can make a movie like Meet the Feebles, and eventually somebody will give him $300 million to make 9 hours of Lord of the Rings. Because those two do not equate. They are so vastly not in the same, existing in the same world. But Harry the chain smoking rabbit in Meet the Feebles is one of a cast of interesting characters and one that I will never forget.
Cool. I don't think I will be seeing that movie.
All right.
It just doesn't. It looks crazy.
I'm not recommending that you see it. It's just my number 7 on my list.
Yeah.
The puppets,
rabbit movies.
the puppets look also just bulbous. I just don't want to be watching that for 90 minutes.
What do you have against bulbous puppets?
I don't know. I just things that are like bulbous and goitery and sweaty. It upsets me.
It's a very, very grimy movie that you will
Yeah.
not like.
No,
I don't even
No,
like
thank
it.
you.
I don't even like it, but it's very memorable. for
it
sure.
sounds
sure.
unpleasant.
It's intentionally unpleasant.
Yes, I don't know. I thought that's not my kind of jam.
How do you feel about Botero? My number 6 is the only one where it's multiple rabbits on my list. It is the rabbits from The Favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, this is directed by
I
Yorgos
forgot about that.
Lanthimos.
Me too.
Yeah, and there are rabbits. I wouldn't say they play a major role, but they are very memorable. They are nice. They're even on the cover. They're that important to
Yeah.
like kind of the climax of the film. And I yeah, it's a great part of that film. And even though I can't point to an individual rabbit and they don't have names, my number 6.
Zach, so far you have the award for best pick. That was a good one.
Thank you.
My number 6 is Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This is a Aardman Animations movie from Nick Park. It's the Wallace and Gromit characters. I think in this case, they are running an animal sanctuary. They're adapting lots of animals, including rabbits, and there is a were-rabbit on the loose eating all the vegetables, and they must investigate and find out what's going on. I love Wallace and Gromit. I think it's such well done animation. It's family friendly, but it doesn't feel like a kid thing or an adult thing either. Like it's just anyone can enjoy it. And it being claymation, you've got Gromit, who doesn't speak at all. He's just eyes. And Gromit does so much expression just through his eyes. He doesn't talk. He doesn't have a mouth, really. He obviously has arms and whatnot, but just the fact that they can get so much out of him is great. I think this is also the first Wallace and Gromit feature film. I think they're all shorts.
The Wrong Trousers wasn't before
those are all
this?
shorts. Those are like 20 minutes
Oh.
long.
That's a short? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Wrong
Okay.
Trousers, A Close Shave, and the third one, like The Moon or something like that. Those are all shorts.
Okay.
Then they did Chicken Run. That's the studio, but not Wallace and Gromit characters. I think this is the first Wallace and Gromit movie.
I think you're right. Potentially.
Yeah.
You're potentially right.
I could be right. I feel pretty good about this. Anyway, my number 6.
My number 6 is the previously mentioned White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, specifically the 1951 Disney version of Alice in Wonderland. And yeah, just when thinking about movie rabbits, I was like, yeah, that's got to be on my list. I remember that for sure. My number 6.
Nice. My number 5 is Thumper from Bambi.
Don't tell your mom.
I think Thumper is a great character. He's just a good little rabbit.
Charming.
I like Thumper.
Charming rabbit.
Yeah. He's adorable.
Well, he has a great life lesson too.
Which is what?
You guys, you guys could be kidding me.
Don't set the forest on fire.
No. If you don't have
Twitter
anything,
painting is a part of life.
If you don't have anything nice to say nothing at all.
Okay.
You guys have heard that before, haven't you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that in the
Are we
movie
not
Bambi?
children of the 80s here, people? What's going on? Yes, that like I thought that was common knowledge that Thumper said, if you don't have anything nice to say nothing at all.
Sure.
Okay.
Wow, I feel like I'm on an island right now.
That's fine.
We're agreeing with you. Why are you so defensive about this?
Yeah, you seem angry.
because I just thought I thought you'd be like, oh yeah, of course, Thumper. I've heard that all the time when I was a kid. And you're just like, oh, okay, I'm sure he said that.
He
did.
said it,
Exactly. Okay.
That was in there.
It's like when I told you it was.
Ooh. Kyle, if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say anything.
No, Thumper was a chump. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's why he's not on my list. My number 5, right? Number 5?
Number 5.
Yep. It's 2 movies because
Cheating.
both movies use the rabbit imagery in the same way. And this is Donnie Darko and Sexy Beast.
Okay.
All right. So Donnie Darko is the Jake Gyllenhaal movie about a kid in the 80s who, he's just, there's so much going on in Donnie Darko. He's just a little bit different from everyone else. Maybe has powers, maybe can see the future, see the past. There's a lot going on in Donnie Darko. But one of his images, one of his dreams, one of his haunts is this giant, grotesque rabbit that he sees multiple times throughout the movie. Sexy Beast is a Jonathan Glazer film from 2000, which is about retired British gangsters in the Mediterranean getting back together for one more job, driven by oh my god, Gandhi. Who know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember anything.
Thank you. Played by Ben Kingsley. And Ben Kingsley it's one of his best performances, and he is a monster in that movie. Like, he's just He's an incredible force to be reckoned with. And he and kind of his personality is also personified in dreams by this giant man-sized rabbit riding a horse and shooting a machine gun. So I couldn't separate these two. They both use rabbits as kind of like this giant rabbits as a harbinger of doom. So that's how I put them together.
I absolutely need to
Okay.
watch Sexy Beast again. I don't remember those elements at all.
I forgot about the rabbit until I rewatched it like a year ago. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a
Sure.
giant Donnie Darko rabbit in this movie.
Hmm.
So I will say Donnie Darko did it first. That came out in
Donnie Darko came out in
Oh,
2001.
2001. Oh, and Sexy Beast was 2000. Interesting. That just changed my whole worldview.
They were making Donnie Darko before that movie came out.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So,
Yep.
Sexy Beast is a movie that I will go to bat for. It's a top 100 movie, and it's great. It's incredible.
I like it as well. My
That's awesome.
number 5 is from 1975. It's the attack rabbits in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one attack rabbit.
Well,
Yeah.
the attack rabbit, I should say. It's great. I mean, there's a lot of scenes from that movie that are burned into my memory, and that's one of them. Probably because it's gratuitously violent.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. I think that was very close to being on my list. Okay, my number 4 is Sis Bunny from Robin Hood. This is the sister bunny in Disney's Robin Hood, and she's just great. She's awesome. Yeah. Classic sister character.
Really selling her.
Well, okay, so
Tell me why she's so great and awesome and classic. Right, everyone thinks about Disney's Robin Hood and Sis Bunny.
yeah,
The real breakout character. Of
Yeah,
the-
that's like the one. That's like one of the characters that nobody talks about.
Well, I'm going to talk about her then. Okay, so this is the oldest sister in the rabbit family. Skippy, he's definitely got an ego to him, right? He's a prideful older brother in this family, and she's really what's tethering him to the ground, right? She's teasing him, she's squabbling with him. She's like the yin to his yang, she's keeping him grounded, which without that, Skippy is he's going to get full of himself pretty quick. Especially when Robin Hood comes to his birthday party. I mean, that's really going to inflate his ego if Sis Rabbit isn't there to kind of bring him down a notch. She's always quick with a laugh. She loves to laugh. She'll even fall over laughing, which is a great trait, I think. And she's a real winner. And she is one of the few Robin Hood characters that gets to show up in other Disney media. She's in Muppets. No, not the Muppets. Mickey's Christmas Carol.
I mean,
Which is pretty awesome.
sometimes you got to recycle animation.
Her legacy is
Save some
cemented.
money.
It's not recycled animation. She's wearing a different outfit. Actually.
Oh, because you can't take movement and change the outfit of the character. That's never happened.
No, it's
in
a
Disney.
complete. It's absolutely not recycled animation.
I know.
Although they do recycle her animation within the film itself. So there's 2 scenes that use the exact same animation of Sis Rabbit in Robin Hood.
Oh, there's a fair amount of Robin Hood animation recycling itself, as well as we talked about other movies.
There's not too much of it recycling itself, but one of the major instances is Sis Rabbit,
Yeah.
for sure.
Or
She's great.
4 raccoons walking in lockstep.
Yeah, to the beat.
To the beat. Yeah, that's good. I'm not gonna say great choice, but not an unexpected choice from you.
Inspired.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought we wouldn't have any Robin Hood on this list because
I knew.
I don't remember a rabbit from Robin Hood.
You don't remember a rabbit from Robin Hood?
I thought he was gonna put
I've seen
Skippy,
Robin
unless
Hood
Skippy's coming
an
later in this
average amount
list.
of times, Zach, not an insane amount of times. Why would anybody remember the rabbit?
He's a
from Robin Hood?
He's a major character. He's got one of the last lines of the film.
What are you talking about, Sis Rabbit or Skippy?
No, Skippy.
Oh, so Skippy, your number 3?
I remember
No.
the snake. I remember the Lion King. I remember the Robin Hood. What is he, a fox or something? I don't remember what he is.
What is he, a fox? James, you remember this film so well.
That's what I'm saying. I remember it as much as most people remember it. Your average Disney film.
No, everyone listening who has seen it knows there's a rabbit character in it.
I don't know if that's true.
It's pretty true.
Peter Ustinov, who does the voice of the Prince John, is in Sparta.
Prince.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. But I was gonna say Prince Charles. Prince Charles, Queen Di. You know, they're all
Yes, Queen Di.
Who does the voice of Prince John? So he's in Spartacus, and he gave a very Prince John line reading at one point in the movie. I was like, oh, that's Peter Ustinov. I mean, his voice is very distinct, but
Yeah,
that moment was like, yep, that's definitely Prince John right there.
that's great. Yeah, you sent that to me. I loved it.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And you finally acknowledged I sent it to you. All right. My number 4. This is a kind of previously mentioned. This is the White Rabbit from The Matrix. Early in the movie, when Neo is still just Mr. Anderson, he gets a message saying, you know, if you want to meet Morpheus, follow the White Rabbit. And he sees a woman with a white rabbit tattoo and follows that woman, and boom, the rest of the movie happens. If he had not followed that woman, if he had ignored that message, he'd just be Mr. Anderson, and we get no Matrix movies.
Yeah, I doubt it would have been as successful if that was the choice.
It would just be
The
a movie about
franchise.
a hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie about a hacker who decides not to
Who doesn't leave his
know the
apartments.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also other, like, how deep does the rabbit hole go? And there's other references to rabbits throughout the Matrix here and there.
Oh, that's my number 3. So thanks for spoiling that.
My number 4, Zach stole my thunder again. It's Bambi from 1942.
You guys.
And Thumper's great. I mean, that is a classic movie rabbit for sure.
You guys don't even remember his life lesson. I don't believe that you think he's great in classic if you can't remember his one lesson from the movie.
I know his life lesson.
Now.
Kyle, I just remind you again, if you don't have anything nice to say, I would just
Thumper the Chumper.
I mean,
I'm much more in a Thumper is Twitter pating. That's how I think of Thumper.
Absolutely. Same here. And it might just be you know, the way Zach and I approach watching movies. Maybe Kyle needs to learn a lesson out of everything he watches. We just let it wash over us, and you know.
Yeah. He's getting his morality from Disney.
Right.
So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I already knew that lesson. Maybe that's why it didn't affect me enough, because I was just like,
it didn't stand out to
I was like,
you knew it because someone else watched Bambi and taught it to you.
Yeah, because you didn't watch Bambi when you were a kid, Zach.
It came full circle for you.
Yeah, Zach, you didn't even watch Bambi when you were.
This is why
a kid.
Zach is such a jerk. Is because he never saw Bambi and never learns Thumper's life lesson.
Oh.
I'd respond, but I think it's just better to be silent.
I will say though that, like, when I think of Bambi, I think of Thumper. Like, I don't even think of the deer or like any other characters in the movie. Probably because I remember I had something that was taped off Disney Channel or something like that had scenes from different animated movies, like, cut together in a package. I think maybe related to Valentine's Day, and it had that scene with the Twitter patient and stuff like that from Bambi. And I watched that far more than I did the full movie. And so when I think of Bambi, I think of Thumper right away. That's like the first thing that comes to my mind. And I think it's a charming character. It's my number 4.
Nice. I like it. All right. My number 3 is Tagalong Bunny from Disney's Robin Hood.
You used 2 slots.
Oh, there's more than 2. There's more.
Are you going to fill out the rest of the top 10 with characters from Robin Hood?
Look, we're on my number 3 right now.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that this rabbit character gets its full due, because Tagalong is an awesome character.
More
Now,
awesome
notice-
than Little Sis, apparently.
It's not Little Sis, it's Sis. Tagalong actually gets a name, Tagalong, which is awesome, and has the distinction. It's the only rabbit character on my list that has a rabbit stuffed animal as well. So it's kind of like rabbit inception situation.
Is it?
Because
Tagalong's
when a
What?
child carries around a baby doll, that's Inception also.
Yeah. When Kayla walks around with a baby doll, you're like, wow, this is
Like,
just like
whoa,
Inception.
Deep.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I do. And so Tagalong gets some of the best lines in the movie. Definitely brings down the house with some of her one-liners.
Let's hear one. Bring me down.
Come again on my birthday. And it's like, well,
Whoa.
clearly Robin Hood's not going to come again on Tagalong's birthday.
Okay.
It's a good one. Yeah, Tagalong's great. Also, consequential for the plot in that she's the reason that Robin Hood gets trapped in the castle because she can't keep up with everyone else because she's so little. So I would say a lot more consequential to the plot than Sis was. And yeah, I think Tagalong's an awesome character.
Wait, so she sucks at tagging along?
No, she's just young, and so she can't run very fast.
So they should call her stay at home.
Well, she definitely wasn't at home. She was in the jail. I don't know why you would jail someone who's clearly like 2, but that's I guess how evil Prince John is.
Well, she also got Robin Hood in jail, so he would have.
Well,
been...
he came to save her. She just
Yeah,
they kind of
'cause
forgot
she
about
should
her.
have been there in the first place. You should leave a 2-year-old at home, not take your 2-year-old to go raid a castle.
No. She was a prisoner in the castle jail. She didn't go to like save people. She was a prisoner in the jail, and Robin Hood was rescuing her.
Mhm.
And then she just kind of got lost in the shuffle because she's so small.
So Robin Hood decided to rescue a 2-year-old and get thrown in jail instead of realizing I should sacrifice this 2-year-old so I can rescue more people for the greater good.
No, everyone had already been rescued. They were out of the drawbridge gates. And then they noticed that Tagalong was not with them. So he ran back to get her, put her through the already closed gates, and then he had to find his own way out.
Mm.
Yeah. It was a heroic moment. It was good.
Sounds like a nuisance to me.
Well, young children do take extra special care.
I know.
But
my goodness.
That's anyway, Tagalong, my number 3.
All right. My number 3 is the previous mentioned rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I love John Cleese's wizard character. I think his name is Tim. Warns him about the rabbit. And then someone's like, that's it. And he runs up and attacks it and then gets killed by the rabbit. And John Cleese he just yells, I told you. And it's a great moment in that movie.
Yeah.
And when they're like, run away.
Yeah.
I think I
Run
quote that all
away.
the time.
It's got big, sharp, pointy teeth.
Yeah.
My number 3 is from 2001. It's Frank the Rabbit from Donnie Darko, which is a big element of the weirdness of Donnie Darko, the film. And I'm not sure Frank the Rabbit is fully explained, although there is like a little bit here and there that like you kind of understand why he's there. But also it's just like this weird thing that you can't tell if it's like a manifestation of somebody's imagination or psychosis or whether this is an actual thing that's going on. And I think the movie plays with that, and it's a weird movie with weird visuals, and Frank the Rabbit is would you say that is like a breakout visual? Like, could more people recognize Frank the Rabbit than like could people
The spiral
see,
jet engine.
Yeah, could people see Frank the Rabbit and say Donnie Darko without having actually seen Donnie Darko?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
I
I think people would recognize Frank the Rabbit and not even always connect it to Donnie Darko. They just know that character.
they just know it's a creepy rabbit.
Yeah.
Although I think you need to be older than like 33 to be able to do that.
Oh, they sell Donnie Darko t-shirts at Hot Topic with Frank the
Sure,
Rabbit. So
I'm just not going to say that everyone under 33 is going to be able to do that, but everyone over 33 will.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3.
Nice. My number 2 is Mother Bunny
Oh
from
my
Disney's
goodness.
Robin Hood.
Jeez.
And
You couldn't think of 4 more non-Robin Hood bunny characters.
No. I have 11 honorable mentions.
You could have just made the bunnies. Okay, keep going.
My list is my favorite.
You're
Individual
rabbits.
bunnies, not
So-
movies that have bunnies on them. He
Yeah,
went
exactly.
with individual
Okay.
bunnies.
And I love the mother character in Disney's Robin Hood.
even more than
She's-
Tagalong and Sis.
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
For sure. She's fantastic because she's holding it all together. I mean, she has 14
I thought
kids.
Sis was holding it all together.
No.
No,
She's
you-
holding Skippy together.
Oh my goodness.
And the mother is holding it all together.
No, she's not holding it all
Um,
together. One of her 2-year-olds is in jail.
Well, so is she. I mean, so she has 14 kids and no husband. And that has got to be really hard. And yet still, she's just such a kind, warm person. They scrimped and saved to give a farthing to Skippy. I mean, really, she's doing the best she can, and she's so grateful when she gets help. Like, she's not, like we were talking about in the movie, Power of the Dog. Like, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch's character had a rough history, and like the things he has to deal with, and he turned out to be a jerk because of it. Whereas Mother Bunny, she's got a real rough life, I'm sure, but she's still so gracious and so kind. So I really like her a
Yeah,
lot.
I do wish a kids movie had more Benedict Cumberbatch performance in it. That would be really
I-
teach those kids something.
I'm glad he's not in this. Kyle, you're number 2.
My number 2.
Is it a bingo?
No. Yeah, Mother Rabbit from Who Knew?
Mother Bunny.
Whatever. Are they hares? Are you sure?
No, they're rabbits. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
positive.
My number 2 is Jason Segel's bunny costume from the 5-year engagement.
Sure.
This is a romantic comedy with some, I think it's produced by Judd Apatow, so it's kind of in that vein. Starring Jason Segel and Emily Blunt. At the beginning, or we learn that their meet cute was at a costume party, whereas dressed as your favorite superhero, Emily Blunt dressed as Princess Di, and Jason Segel dressed as he basically put on a giant pink bunny suit and called himself Super Bunny. And that's kind of how they met. But then later in the movie, when the relationship's on the rocks, he puts the bunny suit back on. And that kind of signifies Emily Blunt that maybe not everything's okay in this relationship. So the bunny suit really is kind of like the end, the start or the end points of that relationship, and plays a rather significant role in the course of the movie.
I agree. I saw that recently. I enjoyed it, and I didn't remember the bunny part, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh. I should say I don't. When I think about that movie, I don't think bunnies.
Oh no, I mean,
But it's definitely in there. I agree.
this is a movie that we watch almost annually. So,
Sure. Yeah.
it's definitely, it's like, yeah, it's been, I know a lot of this movie.
right. It's more in your brain, the details of it. Whereas in my brain, it's the broad strokes of the movie, which I enjoyed
Yeah, definitely.
for sure.
I really wish I picked every individual bunny from Us as my list. Just
You
number
really
10.
should have. Yeah.
Yeah, and just Zach Sweet this whole thing.
if
My
they're your favorite, go for it.
my number 2 is from 1988. It's Roger Rabbit. From Who Framed Roger Rabbit? ?
Has to be.
And yeah, great rabbit, great movie. My number 2.
How would you be friends with Roger Rabbit?
He's kind of annoying for sure,
I-
but
Right.
it's an
Yeah.
entertaining
That's the only-
movie character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I think in a group of friends, I want to hang out with him, but like one-on-one, no.
even in a group, like there'd have to be some nights that he stays home because he'd dominate the conversation wherever.
That's
you
the thing.
go.
I
Yeah.
would rather be one-on-one with him because in a group, he would just completely take over the group and it takes away all the group dynamics.
I couldn't be one-on-one either, though.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh,
way
oh, really?
too much.
What if you're handcuffed to him?
I mean, you might have to be, but I wouldn't
I mean-
prefer being one-on-one with him.
Okay.
Did,
for sure.
did Bob Hoskins seem amused or happy to be around Roger Rabbit? No.
He didn't. No.
Right.
I mean, he got his own issues in that movie, but
Yep.
all right,
Cool,
Zach, let's hear about Skippy.
My number one is Skippy from Disney's Robin Hood. I love this character. It is such a great character. Perfect casting. First of all, the voice casting is perfect for Skippy. He's a ton of fun. He's kind of like a young protege to Robin Hood. Like he's brave and courageous and but still wet behind the ears, you know? He gets a kiss from Maid Marian way before Robin Hood does. And he's a great character. So he's my number one, absolutely hands down favorite movie rabbit of all time.
I didn't even remember there were rabbits in Robin Hood.
Agreed. Yeah.
And Zach pulled out 4 of them, 5 of them.
4
yeah,
out
four.
of 4 out of 15. Yeah.
There's 15 rabbits in the film. Yeah.
All right.
I do think Skippy is a good choice. I question the other 3. But
really? You don't like tag along?
I don't remember them.
Okay. So I don't know why you have an opinion then.
Exactly. Like I mean, I know this is your personal list, but I just think there's better, more memorable rabbits than 4 out of the 15 that you chose, or 3 out of the 15 that you chose.
These rabbits I remember pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you also have an unhealthy obsession with.
Is it unhealthy?
I mean,
obsession, yes. I don't know if it's unhealthy.
But earlier, before we started recording, your daughter came in and you're like, "What's your favorite movie?" She goes, "Robin Hood." I'm like, how convenient.
Well, she likes it.
I mean, I do force Galen to watch 2001: Space Odyssey every day or week now, just and I'm like, "Do you like it yet?" No. Well, okay.
No, it's probably similar, very similar to your son liking Star Wars.
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, but also Star Wars is pervasive in our culture.
Sure.
It's pervasive in Kayla's culture, guaranteed. Not Star Wars, Robin Hood.
Yeah, because of her father. She's not going to Targets and seeing like Robin Hood toys everywhere and then watching.
That would be incredible.
It's going to be a cruel world when she has to leave those walls and realize the world does not revolve around Robin Hood.
Yeah, you just wait till that girl's in kindergarten and she's like, "Have you guys seen Robin Hood 2?" Like, what are you talking about?
Hopefully by then the Disney Plus Robin Hood will come out and
sure.
She won't have to live in that world.
Change the discussion.
Yeah. move the pulse of the nation.
Right. Kyle, what's your number one?
My number one is the obvious and previously mentioned from both of you, Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is a great movie. It's a top 100 for me. Robert Zemeckis directed it. He did this between Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2. So, like, what a run that is.
Yeah.
And I think I probably mentioned this before, but this was one of the few movies we actually owned in my house. So I was watching this at probably younger age than I should have been, but I like it.
I like it as well. My number one, can you guys
is
guess?
that the only movie that is on all of our lists?
Let's see, Holy Grail.
Because you didn't have Bambi, unless
Zach
you have Bambi.
didn't have Holy Grail.
No, I said Thumper's a chump, so I didn't put a Bambi on here.
All right.
All right. Are we trying to guess James' number one? What is he missing?
Yeah, can you guys guess my number one?
Has been previously mentioned.
No.
Nobody
mentioned this.
Trying to think of a rabbit that I saw, but I left off my list.
There's a ton of rabbit horror movies, but if he's not going to go that route, maybe Jojo Rabbit?
No.
No, it's not Jojo Rabbit.
No, not Jojo Rabbit.
Is it a horror movie?
It's not a horror movie.
Okay, then I don't know.
By far, my favorite rabbit in any movie is B Rabbit from 2002's 8 Mile.
Oh,
played by Eminem.
So clever.
Easily the best rabbit character. I love 8 Mile.
Love it.
I need to rewatch it.
I like 8 Mile.
I like what happened with Eminem. Like he just made that one movie and he was like, this is probably as good as it gets for me with the whole acting thing. I'm out.
I think Eminem was good at playing Eminem.
Sure.
And realized I probably shouldn't do much more than this.
Is he the smartest actor or singer turned actor there ever was, where he's just like, I'm just going to play myself and then I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
That's
he's
my
the
range.
smartest actor that has ever lived.
no, the smartest
you're
singer
right,
turned
actor
actor.
singer.
Oh yeah.
Like-
Singer turned actor.
I think he recognized what he could and couldn't do as an actor, and he said, "I can play myself,"
Is there
and did that.
somebody who was a singer who turned actor who turns out to be a better actor than they are a singer?
Better?
Yeah, like
Like Lady Gaga is a good actor. I don't know better than
But she's
because
better
she's
than
just
a
a really good
singer.
singer.
right.
But she's a good actor.
Like Jennifer Lopez definitely made a career switch, right? Where she wanted people to consider her an actor over singer. Like she kind of just stopped releasing music, but she continued
Yeah.
to be.
What
in
about
movies.
Mark Wahlberg?
Ooh, that's one.
Ooh.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
He's definitely one where most people don't remember that he was a singer. He was a rapper. Let's not call him a singer. Musician.
Well, same with Eminem.
That's true. Eminem is not a singer. I'll agree with that.
We can. How would we say pop musician?
Sure. But yeah, Brittany Murphy in this movie is awesome, and Eminem's great in it. Surprisingly, it has a song that's iconic at this point, and yeah, it's a good movie. I like it.
It is a good
My
movie.
number
I
one.
liked Rabbit Run better than the 8 Mile song, whatever it's called.
You lose yourself?
Yes, Lose Yourself. Yeah.
You don't like Lose Yourself?
No, I like Lose Yourself. I think Rabbit Run's a better song.
Okay.
It just kind of it goes. There's no chorus to it. It just sort of like the beat starts, he starts rapping, and then it gets more and more intense, and then he just ends with like a chime bell. It's a cool song.
It's a great song, but better than Lose Yourself. Come on. I mean, Lose Yourself is like it's a
No, hot
classic.
take.
It's like a
Yo.
perfect rap pop song.
Yeah, no,
They
Lose
they
Yourself is-
play
yeah.
it in stadiums nightly. It's there's no comparison between those two.
Lose Yourself is a great pop song. It's got your verse, chorus, it's got everything you need from a pop song.
Absolutely.
But Rabbit Run for me is just like a piece of music where it's a journey, right? It's through composed. So we start at point A and we end at point B, and I like the journey it takes me on, whereas it builds this intensity and you kind of feel Eminem's character getting more and more into the moment. Where Lose Yourself is a great like story and it's a good hype song, but
Mhm.
it's more traditional.
It is traditional, and I would say it's better. But I'm not saying the other song, Run Rabbit, has it's a weirder song, and that's probably why you like it.
Probably, yeah.
That's fine. I like
Do you know the first
I like
Eminem
some
song?
weird things just because I like them too.
The first Eminem song that I like fell in love with was Guilty Conscience with Dr. Dre.
We used to listen to that in your basement
Oh yeah.
on Napster. I got memories
Oh,
of
yeah.
that. Yep.
Was that
And
a
great music video?
was that a no song in your household, Zach?
No, we didn't have rules in my house about music.
Really? You could listen to
I'd-
whatever you wanted. Didn't matter what it was.
I don't remember there being any rules about what I could or could not listen to.
Interesting.
Zach is the youngest of four.
Oh, okay. So there
So
maybe the rules changed over time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. I wouldn't say that anybody laid out rules for me, but there were definitely things not to be played in front of parental figures, or else you were gonna get a lecture. And they were going to be upset if they heard certain words fly out of musicians' mouths. But you had
Sure.
no fear of that, or you just never pushed those buttons because
Never push those buttons. I think there would have been rules if I
had been blasting
know,
things like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I broke the bounds of, common sense.
Sure.
but blasting guilty conscience in your basement didn't break those boundaries.
I guess not. I don't know. It's such
Apparently,
a good song.
it
Though.
is, yeah.
They probably appreciated the artistic element of it. And the music video, it's like early Bullet Time. It's great.
Or did they just never know you were doing that? Like if they were to walk in the room, did you shut it off, turn it down, or did you keep it at the same volume and scream the lyrics out loud?
Well, I'd never scream the lyrics, but I would probably turn it down just because you don't want to blast them. And I don't know, I don't want to blast Eminem while people are trying to say hi to you.
It was just never a concern in your household.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He would turn it down. Your mom would come down, like offer us a snack or something, and like, Mom, we're listening to Eminem.
The first Eminem song I liked was Stan. That song's great.
Yeah, with
Oh.
Dido.
Yeah.
I'm all about not I'm the real Slim Shady. What's the Slim Shady one? My Name Is.
The
I
original.
like OG. Oh, the original. Yep.
Sure.
My Name Is Slim Shady.
Yeah.
That's great. That's what got me going.
I recently went down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos with these people, oddly enough, in Central Florida, who do reaction videos, like music reaction videos. Have you guys ever watched a music reaction video on YouTube?
Yeah.
Is this one that's like two brothers or two friends?
This is not that one, but that is a popular reaction video pairing. This one is a guy named Brad and his wife named Lex, I think. And they went through a run where they were going through Eminem songs because she had never heard any of them. And it was interesting to hear people watch music videos of Eminem from the time, because there's a lot of anti-gay stuff in those music videos, and a lot of like misogynistic lyrics and stuff like that. And they react to it, I think, appropriately, like in context of just the conversations that were going on at the time, and just how much even Eminem would not say the things that he said back then, even though his entire image was, I shouldn't be saying this, and yet I'm going to say it, type of thing. Like even he probably would not. Well, if you look at his recent music, he would not, say those things anymore. And that was only 20 years ago. It's crazy how much has changed. And also, a lot of their comments are about how well produced those music videos are, because you compare it to music videos today and the budgets are tiny compared to what he was working with at the time.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy how much has changed. But cool. That was our top 10 movies with rabbits, or top 10 movie rabbits. Pick your poison on that one.
We'd love to hear your list.
Yeah.
Of top 10 movie rabbits or movies with rabbits.
I would love if someone could pick 5 or more rabbits from one movie, and could they beat Zach with 4 from Robin Hood?
Well, just as long as it's true to them.
Like,
I mean, I want your personal list.
So we're looking for named character rabbits.
Yeah. Oh yeah, names. Yeah, you can't be the first rabbit from us, the second rabbit from us. Like I want named rabbits.
Identifiable characters as rabbits.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I bet in Watership Down, there's a lot of rabbits with names.
I haven't seen that.
There you go.
That one came up in my research, but haven't seen it.
I've read it, have not seen it.
Sure. I want to let you guys know I did make a top 10 list of my favorite non-movie rabbits.
Oh, just rabbits, like your top favorite rabbits?
Okay.
Yeah, my top 10 favorite non-movie rabbits.
Sure.
Which I can either say now or I could say in the Patreon, whatever you want.
I don't care. Kyle?
I mean, I don't care. It's your choice, Zach. Do you want to do it now? You do Patreon?
We'll do it in the Patreon.
We'll do the Patreon. Gotcha.
I will also tease that I owned a pet rabbit when I was a kid, and I will reveal the name of said rabbit and what happened to it in the Patreon.
Yes.
And
so can we guess?
Sure.
Okay. Was it Bigsby?
No, don't guess now. Save that for the Patreon. This is gold.
Was it Fluffster?
No, I'm not going to say yes or no to anyone. We're saving
okay,
it.
so it might be Bigsby.
Yes, it's Bixby. Zach, you ruined it.
Yes.
Who names a rabbit Bixby?
No, Bigsby. That's a great rabbit name.
I don't like it.
Okay. I named yours Fred.
Yes, I named it Fred. Good guess. Thank you for joining us for this episode 507 of the Cinereelists. We appreciate your listenership. Don't forget, there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Check that out. Support us on Patreon. Get that sweet extra after show audio by supporting the podcast. Leave an Apple Podcast review or send us an email to heyguys@cinereelists.com. Send us an email. We will read it and discuss it on the podcast, just like we did at the beginning of this episode. You could also follow us on all the social medias, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Cinereelists, or you could follow me on my personal Twitter or Letterboxd account at YoJRB.
You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Shaubin.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
Next week, we will be discussing 3 Christmas movies. It's our Christmas movie special. Are we going to reveal the movies? We should probably do that just so
I think we
people-
should.
Then
Yeah.
people can
Okay,
watch them.
so the 3 Christmas movies we're going to be discussing, since they're all relatively new movies, people need to, if you want to pre-watch some of them, we're going to watch 8-Bit Christmas on Netflix. We're going to watch 'Twas the
HBO,
Fight.
I believe.
What? 8-Bit Christmas
Netflix.
is on HBO? I think it's on Netflix.
I saw
Twas,
it. Okay.
'Twas the Fight Before Christmas is on Apple Plus. And what's the other movie?
Batman.
Fat Man. Yes. I don't know where that one is. You might have to track that one down online.
You might have to find it yourself. Maybe
Yeah.
your local library has it.
Sure. Or VOD, I'm sure. It's available somewhere.
Yes.
Live fact check. 8-Bit Christmas, HBO Max.
HBO
Thank
Max.
you.
Good job, Kyle. I thought it was Netflix, but it's obviously HBO Max. I apologize for doubting you.
Psych, it's Netflix. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's not.
That would have been hilarious. Yeah, so check those out. And if you're interested in Power of the Dog spoilers, stick around after the credits. And the rest of you, we'll see you over at the Patreon. And we'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep it Cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
This is spoiler chat for The Power of the Dog. If you have not seen The Power of the Dog and you want to stay spoiler free, then hit pause on this podcast and come back and listen to the rest after you've seen the movie. If you have seen the movie or you do not care about spoilers, then listen on because we're going to talk about the details throughout the film, especially that ending. So what we didn't mention in the main review is that the Benedict Cumberbatch character, who generally everybody in the movie is scared of for the most part, except for maybe the Cody Smith McPhee character, is secretly gay. And he's a cowboy. And he's repressed and has a very hard edge to him. He's trying to hide the fact that he's gay because it's not cool to be gay and a cowboy, basically.
Yeah, with like hyper masculinity.
Right. Yeah, like with the ranch. He's the head of the ranch, kind of, or at least the guy running the ranch. His brother does the books, basically. He does the business side. He does the execution side of the ranch. They come from money, so they have a nice ranch. And
Yeah, they do have a nice ranch.
He's been single his whole life publicly because you can't be gay in the late 20s, I think it is set, or early 30s, something like that. In Montana, and so I think he's crabby because of the situation, and he's also putting on a little bit of a show to make sure that nobody sniffs out his secret. And that's kind of the overarching slow drip twist they give you over the course of the movie. And then some stuff happens at the end with the Cody Smith McPhee character that we will get into. But was there anything else leading up to the ending that you guys wanted to talk about that was spoiler, or your thoughts on that character progression? Maybe not progression, but reveal, maybe?
So when we were revealed that that Benedict Cumberbatch character is gay, and we kind of pieced together that his partner was the Butch Henry character, who's like this famous Bronco. I keep saying Butch. Thank you. Bronco Henry character, who was kind of a famous cowboy, a well-known cowboy from those parts. And you kind of get the impression that Bronco Henry was older and the Cumberbatch character was younger, right? So that there was definitely a bit of like that, almost like a Call Me By Your Name style relationship going on there.
Yeah.
And Cody Smith McPhee then discovers, what would I call it? I called it his pity palace, his pity cave that he would crawl into.
Sure.
And then, and he discovers the secret. But then Cumberbatch starts changing how he starts spending more time around Cody Smith McPhee, and you think it's going to be now the kind of that flip of the relationship, where now Cumberbatch will be the older character of older man in the relationship, with Cody Smith McPhee being like the younger one, the newer one. So at first you thought it was kind of like a Brokeback Mountain meets Call Me By Your Name style story.
I did not get that at all. I
you
had a totally different read. I don't know where Zach lands on this, but
you didn't get that Benedict Cumberbatch was maybe possibly starting a relationship with Cody Smith McPhee of the kind of the older younger style.
I got the vibe that this guy was so repressed and so angry and so dug in on you should not be this way, even though I am this way. You know what I mean? Like self-hating, that he, and also hated his brother for finding love, having the opportunity to have a second shot, right? The guy, his brother had a wife, and now he has this new woman who seems perfectly pleasant, and he just torments her, right? Like, I'm not saying she wouldn't have been a drunk regardless, but he definitely pushes her into it, makes her feel less than over the course of the movie. I think all of these things are just expressions of self-hatred. I would say that's the only motivation I can come up with for why he was that way. And when he starts interacting with him, it took me a while to get comfortable
with
Cody Smith McPhee.
Okay.
It took me a while to drop the guard that the reason why he's creating the rope is because he's literally going to kill this kid. Like, the self-hating is going to it's going to go to a level where it's going to go there, type of thing.
So you thought maybe he was like making the rope to hang the kid or something like that.
I didn't know why. But never in my wildest dreams did I think it would be to teach him how to rope a steer. You know what I mean? Like, the devious edge to it had been built so well for me that when those tables started to turn and I started to realize that it might be the relationship that you're talking about, it was late in the movie.
Okay.
Very late in the movie. What was your experience,
Zach?
Yeah,
I want to know what Zach thinks, yeah.
So I'm Team James in the sense that when he started building, like saying, I'm gonna make you a rope and you can watch me do it, kind of a thing. It was so close to him like hating this boy. It was pretty much like, I've decided. It was right after the boys found him, like, I think naked in the lake or something like that.
And found his porn stash.
Yeah.
Which it's very important, if you have a stash of porn, to label it. Put your name on it so everyone knows it's yours. I thought that was kind of silly. Like, they found a bunch of magazines of nude men, and the name Bronco Henry was written on there, like, just in case you needed a little hint on whose this was.
So I thought in that moment, as I'm watching the movie, okay, he is feeling this humiliation, kind of thing that this boy has discovered him and he just hates who the boy is because it's who he is. And so his intention is to kill the boy. And so like,
Interesting.
and it's his sick, perverse game to have the boy watch him do the rope.
Yeah, I was
Now,
convinced he was that deep type of thing.
Really? Okay.
Now, I will say that as the movie went on, I think James and I are wrong about what the intention of the film was. I think the intention of the film is what Kyle's saying, is that we are supposed to see he is becoming curious about the boy and wants to know more. And this is his excuse to spend time with him and kind of test the waters. And then he's progressively more and more intrigued by the boy. Like when the boy can see the same shadow of the dog in the mountain that he can, he's very impressed. When the boy is telling him about finding his father after the suicide and how comfortable he can be talking about that, he's very impressed. And so I think the intention of the film was much more what Kyle is saying. I just think the effect of the film was what James was saying, in that it did feel sinister, but I think maybe you're supposed to see him opening up.
Okay, interesting.
Well, I also feel like, and again, I don't know if this was the intent. Maybe it was. But I think you're also supposed to, I could just talk about my experience, is that I definitely read into all of those things, right? And then the movie chipped away at them over time. And so I'm not saying Kyle's more open-minded than Zach and I, but the fact that he didn't build some of that stuff that the movie wasn't necessarily showing us, and yet we were throwing these things on the intentions of the main character, that I think, like, we've never seen him kill somebody or be so extreme that he would actually do something like that. You know what I mean? There's like nothing in the movie that would tell you.
Story about like one time he was out with one guy and only one of them came back.
He's just a gruff dude that will embarrass the crap out of you if he can, type of thing. That's really all we've seen so far in the movie. And so I think that's what the movie kind of masterfully, my experience with the movie that was masterful was just the changing of my mind about where this could go type of thing. I will say that the thing with Cody Smith McPhee at the end felt a little cheap and less. I think it's set up, and I think there's clues along the way. We don't have to go through it, you know. What's that movie with the kid who's a ghost, or his therapist is a ghost?
Sixth
Sense.
Yeah, we don't have to go through all the clues or anything, but I think they're there, like especially in the last third. There's a bunch of clues as to what's happening. But I'm not sure they completely set up that Cody Smith McPhee would literally murder somebody to protect his mom. I don't know.
I think they set that up enough for me.
Yeah.
If he would do that to a rabbit and just so cold. One thing about that character that I want to talk about, at the beginning of the film, I was all excited for him to be on the spectrum. Like that's what I thought that character was. You know, like when he goes in the backyard because he's stressed out and he's playing with the comb, and then he goes in the backyard and does the hula hoop. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be really interesting. A character on the spectrum in the West. I don't know what that looks like. And maybe he still was supposed to be, but when I guess I was more interested in that than in having like someone that was, I don't know, not, but like just more effeminate or more, you know, maybe he was gay himself. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I guess I wasn't quite sure what we're supposed to make of him.
Yeah, I definitely think the movie is trying to say like he is different, but we're not sure what kind of different. Like, and different compared to like the Benedict Cumberbatch, how he put himself out there, how his exterior personality was. You know, he like Cody Smith McPhee was not your, you know, masculine ranch hand style person, but right,
Yeah.
it was hard to tell. Right, was he gay? Was he on the spectrum? Was it both? Was it neither? Was he just, you know, some people are just effeminate. Well, I don't like the word effeminate because I feel like that's just not the, yeah, you know what I mean. But like, because that defines that there's a way you can and can't be, but
Sure.
people just have different personalities.
Yeah, and I think the Benedict Cumberbatch character too, I think, was confused by the way he acted,
Mhm.
because it just was like, this is something you hide type of thing, and it didn't really seem to bother him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like at some point, the other ranch hands are calling him names and stuff like that. Stuff you should never say to another person about who they are or aren't, type of thing. And the kid just like keeps walking, and he does not seem to care. I mean, I think he
Yeah.
does. He just doesn't, not to the level that Cumberbatch did. You know what I mean? Like he could
Yeah.
not imagine people saying that to him and him taking it.
Yeah.
G-
Ultimately, I just didn't find myself caring about Benedict Cumberbatch's unfolding character, because he's just such a jerk and a bully. He's so mean
Mhm.
to Kirsten Dunst, this character.
He is.
He's awful to her. He's so mean to like a lot of characters, and it's just like, I don't care why he's the way he is, because you're an adult and just be better, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say now, 100 years later, like, don't be secretly gay. Grow up.
Well, he can be secretly gay if he wants, but just be nicer to people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the three of us who, to my knowledge, have not had to keep, society earth-shattering secrets to ourselves. It's hard for me to say, like, you're all bottled up. Be nice. Like, when people are bottled up about something, they need to let it out somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's a complicated, complicatedly written character, and an interesting performance to me, is that it's just not your typical progression of a character to go from giving you everything that you should assume about a character in a movie like this, and then by the end of it, you're not necessarily excusing his um, behavior. In fact, he gets punished for it.
Yeah, right.
In the end,
like, he's not redeemed Zach. Like, it's not at the end,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Oh, welcome, gay brother." Like, he gets murdered.
it's a pretty
spoiler
tragic
checks.
ending. Like basically
Yeah.
all that black-heartedness, despite the fact that he's not a violent guy, or at least the movie never shows that. Despite the fact that my personal worst fears about him were absolutely false, it still comes around to him being the jerk. His outward expression of those frustrations, like, get him killed in the end.
Yeah.
And all he did was, like, psychologically torture his brother's wife.
Well,
and I'm not saying,
and his brothers and the son. Like, Cody Smith McPhee was on the receiving end until halfway through, and I think the Cody Smith McPhee character realized, I'm in this family now, and this is not going to stop.
yeah, the Cody
Like-
Smith McPhee character is kind of an issue for me, because it's a little pathological psychosis. I mean, between the rabbit thing, they're setting up
Mhm.
like he's a guy who just can kill, and it's not an issue for him at all.
Yeah.
He has a smirk at the end. Like, when he turns around from the window, there's a little smile on his face, and
Yeah.
he does not
Oh, for
smile.
sure.
He does not smile in this movie very often.
I mean,
at
it
all.
was very premeditated, right? He planned that out.
I
Well,
mean,
I know.
he
I know. We weren't
basically
gonna get
did
into,
what I was accusing Benedict Cumberbatch
of doing, yeah.
doing in his brain. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
did what I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was going to do. The gay kid did it.
I mean, we all know the trope of Chekhov's anthrax cow. It was a mile away.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the title? Because
A terrible title.
if you say okay, right. If you say to someone like, "Oh, this should have been our top 10 movies with terrible titles."
No, I realize terrible titles would be a great top 10. Also, top 10 titles based on the Bible or
So-
something from the Bible.
Right. So I had to look this up, and maybe you could explain, because I'm like, why is it called Power of the Dog? If you just told me this movie is called Power of the Dog, what's it about? I'd be like, oh, it's about a dog, redeeming a family, like A Dog's Life, or one of those stupid movies.
Stupid.
Dogs are great, and they make like Marley and Me or some crap like that.
You don't like dogs? I thought you liked dogs. I thought it was cats you hated.
No, I like dogs. I just don't like feel good dog movies. I think they're dumb.
You
Moving
like
on,
movies where that don't end to feel good, but are about dogs.
I mean, I don't mind dogs in movies. I just don't need like the dog saved the family. You know, the dog brought us all together.
You like the
dog-
movies where the dogs die.
I want dog murder.
Okay, just making sure.
No. Anyway, Zach, you can correct me or add to it. Right, this is a biblical verse, and the power of the dog in the context of the verse either refers to the devil or the people who want to do you harm.
Definitely not the first one. This is the verse.
Yes.
Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dogs. Then it continues. Rescue me from the mouth of the lions. Save me from the horns of the wild oxen. So think of dogs, and he's listing 3 animals, right? Dogs, lions, and oxen. And he's basically like, I'm in danger.
Yes.
I'm in danger from people with swords. I'm in danger from dogs, lions, wild oxen. And he's like, protect me. So it's not like dogs are special or have any special significance. It's just if you're surrounded by dogs that want to eat you, that's dangerous.
And in this case, Benedict Cumberbatch is the dog.
No.
No? I thought
Scott McPhee is the dog.
You thought he's the dog.
Yes.
I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was the dog.
Interesting. What do you think, James?
I didn't think about it much, but I assumed
Who's the dog?
I assumed Benedict Cumberbatch was the dog. But
Boom. 2 out of 3.
I understand the
Bible man's
argument
wrong.
that it might be Cody Smith McPhee, and maybe that's
Yeah.
a swerve in the title. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's the power of the dog, right? Who had the power of the dog?
Yeah.
I'll submit 2 things. One, Scott McPhee could see the shadow of the dog in the mountain instantly. And you get the sense like better than Benedict Cumberbatch was. So like he has the true power of the dog.
Mhm.
And 2, who won? Who actually like who came out top dog in the situation? You know what I mean?
But the line is deliver me or deliver life itself from the power of the dog. It's like protect me from the dog. So I see Cody Scott McPhee is one who wants to be protected or needs the protection from the dog, who in this case is the Benedict Cumberbatch.
I think probably both. It's the warring power of the dogs, right? They're both dogs. You think one is just the dog, but it turns out both of them are.
No, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is the dog. I'm gonna stand by my.
So he's not the dog in any way because he could see the dog shadow, right? So I think both of them had a special dog connection.
He could see the dog. He knew who the dog was, and he needed to protect himself from the power of that dog.
Okay, well that's compelling.
Which I just thought of right now. No, but I mean, during the movie, I had no idea what it's called Power of the Dog. After the fact, I had to like Google it, and then I realized it was a Bible verse and tried to make context of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's an odd verse to pull out because again, it's like you could easily call this the power of the lion or the horns of the oxen. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay,
Horns
whatever.
of the Oxen would have been a much better title. Like at least it's related to cattle.
Right?
It's based on a book that has the same name, so maybe that's why they.
I would assume that's exactly why they named it that. An
there
earlier
was
verse in the same psalm says, "For dogs encompass me, a company of evildoers encircle me."
So there was even a moment where Cody Smith McPhee was trying to bond with like the ranch dog, and Benedict Cumberbatch shooed the dog away. And I thought I was waiting for a literal power of the dog moment. It's like, is this what it's about? Again, this is what had no idea what this movie was. That it was just characters interacting. I didn't know like what the plot of this movie was, where we were going with it. So I was looking for like, is there a dog? Is this about the dog? It's not.
I think
it's
a terrible title.
I agree. Well, we missed our top 10 movies with terrible titles opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be more.
It'll come back. Yeah. Well, instead, we just chose top 10 rabbit movies.
Yeah.
Interesting tidbit though. That psalm that it comes from, it starts with my God, why have you forsaken me?" Which is what Jesus said on the cross.
Interesting.
All right.
So I don't think he was thinking about this film when he said it though.
Jesus wasn't?
Correct.
Okay, I'm not going to get into that.
Save it for the Patreon.
Save it for the Patreon.
Anything else we need to talk about with the power of the dog? No? All right.
No.
No?
Great. Anybody change? Zach, are you going to give it a half-star bump? Were you at least going to get it up to neutral, or you're still sitting at 2?
Oh, definitely not neutral. Maybe it could dip lower. I would say I'm fine with 2 for right
Dip
now.
lower.
How low can you
It
go?
just-
How low
I-
can you go?
I didn't enjoy it, and talking about it, it really does. It goes the pacing is so off. Like that ending is so random compared to where it's leading. I mean, you really think it's going to be a Brokeback Mountain kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
Or like Call Me by Your Name, absolutely. I think has parallels to this film, absolutely. And then it's just not. And I don't know what we've learned. Like, what have we gotten from the film at the end of it? Like,
Don't be an a-hole.
is his murder justified, not justified? Are we on his side, not on his side? Like, what does it have to say about repressed homosexuality in that time period?
Can't it be morally gray? Like, what?
Yeah, I think
Do you
I
need
think-
the answers given to you? Can't you just come up with your own solutions?
No. I think the answer to all of those questions is intentionally not going to give you answers to those questions, because those are complicated issues that don't have black or white answers to them, right?
I know,
Like,
but
you
it's
can't
just-
assume that everybody in that time period acted like the Cumberbatch character, nor can you assume the Cody Smith McPhee character represents the attitude of people at the
So
time.
what I'm thinking is, for a movie with that intention, and I agree
Mhm.
that's their intention, you would think there'd be less of a stark ending, right? I mean, one of the characters gets murdered and the other one gets everything he wants, and that's how the movie ends. And it's just odd for a movie with the intention of like, we're not gonna make this easy for you, you know?
Well, it's not an easy ending.
I was fine with no easy
It-
ending.
Total easy ending, right?
I
No,
didn't,
no,
I didn't think
I
it was
mean-
an easy ending.
The jerk dies, and
I mean, I'll agree that on paper, it's a clean ending compared
Yes,
to
you're
just leaving it open. How are these people going to go on living together?
yeah.
I'll agree that that's the case. But I think the bigger questions that the movie puts forth are still open questions. And I think it's pretty tragic as far as what happens to the Benedict Cumberbatch character. I don't like what he did throughout the movie. I don't like that he was a jerk, all of those things. But I think the movie did a good job, in my case, of giving me enough of the reasons to realize that, like, he became that person because of the situation and his reaction to the situation. And that might have been the time period, the environment he was in, how some people can flourish even under intense situations that challenge their personality or their proclivities or whatever you want to call it. And other people cannot handle that and will just throw up walls as fast as they possibly can and just absolutely destroy the person they could have been. And I think all of those things are what made it more interesting to me than the plot twist at the end, which I agree felt too fast compared to what the rest of the movie was setting up over the course. So yeah, I guess I'm agreeing with Zach, but also think I love the movie for that. And it sounds like you didn't for that.
That's not the reason I didn't love it,
Okay.
though. So I'm totally cool with that.
Cool. All right. The Power of the Dog.
Do you like the title, James? Did you weigh in on that?
Don't care. I think if you saw just the title in text on a piece of paper, would you be excited to see it? I guess if you're a dog lover, sure. So in that sense, it doesn't describe much. But there's lots of movies I love that don't describe much in the title, and it's not about the title.
See, what's going to happen is dog lovers are going to hear this title. They're either going to watch it or they're going to read the synopsis and be like, I don't want to see that. And the only people and like casual viewers are going to be like, oh, it's a dog movie, whatever. The only people who are going to see this movie are Oscar people, like people who want to see what are the big movies coming out for the season. I think this is going to be a very small audience.
Do you know that Netflix didn't suggest this movie for me? I went through like every one of its like menus and it didn't have it on there. I had to search for The Power of the in order to
Really?
get it. Yeah.
Netflix knows you already.
Yeah, they must have.
I'd be curious to know, like, next Netflix movie we do, if it's on your front page, do you like it? And if it's buried, do you not like it? Like, maybe Netflix has figured us out and we don't have to do this anymore. We could just find the algorithm and just be like, hey, Netflix says I'm not going to like this. So
My top 20 at the end of the year are just whatever Netflix shows me. I haven't watched any of them.
exactly. You're like, according to Netflix, this is what I'm going to like. And they're probably right. So
I'll
they know
say
me
that
better than I do.
my dashboard didn't have it like right away, but I also scrolled down and it was like number 3 in the US. So I didn't have to search anything. When did you watch it? Today?
Yesterday.
Okay. I watched it yesterday, maybe the night before. I think the night before. So maybe it's just dropped off the top 10 that fast.
Maybe.
And their algorithm is telling them no need to put it on the dashboard.
I watched it last night and it is like, it takes up the dashboard. Like when I log into Netflix.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
it has like the preview.
It was the
It
first
was
movie.
Power of the Dog was right there. Yep. So
Who knows? Algorithms.
Netflix
Can't live with
knows.
them. Can't live without them.
We can live it. We made it very long without algorithms. And we did
But
just
some things
fine.
are much more efficient with algorithms, and some things are ruined with algorithms.
How many years have we had algorithms?
like computer algorithms.
Yeah.
I don't know, 70, 60.
Yeah, but they weren't affecting my life 60 years ago.
Right,
No,
but
but
they
you asked
existed.
how long have you had them? So I'm
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
you.
but I mean, like, how much have we had them?
Oh, I mean, our lifetime, I would say.
10 years?
No, much longer than 10 years.
What were algorithms doing for us 20 years ago?
I mean, AOL had algorithms. They maybe weren't great, but they
Did
had
they?
them.
No, there was just a homepage with buttons, and you click them.
No,
you
you had the whole like AOL keyword search.
You think there were algorithms? It wasn't like because that was the time of Yahoo where it just had a static search page. There wasn't even crawling.
Yeah, but that search page is an algorithm. Like Lycos is an algorithm. It's not just randomly pulling crap off the internet. So we've had them for a long time, and they've had an effect on our life, just maybe not a significant one. Yes, in the last decade is it significant? Yeah, but even things you were interacting with in middle school on the internet had algorithms.
I would still say 20 years.
Okay, 20. Yeah,
I mean, it's not a crazy amount of time,
yeah.
but we have had them since like the 60s. It's just as far as your average person being touched by them on a daily basis, I would say, Google years, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It became
Sure.
a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't realize I was so passionate about algorithms. So right
I know,
now,
Very,
right?
very passionate about
I
algorithms.
didn't
Can
even
you
know I
spell
was-
algorithm?
there's a guy at my work who gave a presentation about algorithms. He kept calling them algos,
Oh no.
but like throughout the entire thing, he's like, "All right, so the algos." I'm like, "Please stop."
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
Kyle, can you spell algorithm?
probably not. ALGO algo RITHM.
Now, how confident are you that you got it wrong or right?
I want to say I'm 75% confident I got it right, but there's a chance that I got it wrong.
Okay. You got it right.
I did get it right.
Yeah.
All right.
You get the algorithm trophy.
Can it be called the algies?
No,
No,
they
damn.
cannot
No.
be called
no,
the algae.
Maybe he shouldn't
Typical,
be a host
like,
anymore.
Cool guy band teacher, you know what I mean?
That's me.
All right, let's end this.
All right. We're ending. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye.